What I love about open source software is that it allows more people to shape the software that's shaping our world.
We really wouldn't be here. We wouldn't have community if it wasn't for our open source.
You know, if you look around the industry, you'll see so much of what we do is powered by open source software, even if you don't know it.
Open source is at the heart of pretty much most technologies that people are using today.
It's so important because it's also a way to share ideas.
So if you want software that really serves a lot of different types of needs, that serves different types of communities, you need more people building that software, and open source allows for that.
And good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Hacktoberfest 2021 kickoff. My name is Mason Egger, and I am a developer advocate at DigitalOcean, and that is Matt.
Hello. I'm Matt Cowley. I'm a community platform manager, an engineer in a marketing team.
Yeah, so it's great to have everyone here this morning. Welcome to the 8th year of Hacktoberfest, and we're super excited to get everything started with you this morning. How's everyone doing? Is everyone having a good time? Let us know in the chat where you're coming in from, where you're tuning in from. We always love chatting with people. We've already got some coming in. We've got some from like Jesus here is from coming from Argentina. That's pretty awesome. We have Albany says hi. Sandin's coming from Sri Lanka. I can't pronounce your name. Matej says hello. Matej says hello. The chat's moving so fast I can barely keep up in the clicking, which is fun. That doesn't happen often. So Bobby is here, is one of our fellow sharks.
Bulgaria.
Zelazur from Chile. Muhammad from India. Daryl from Ontario. They are moving so fast. Pierce from Texas. I'm also here from Texas. I'm here out of Austin. It's great to see everyone. Wow, Matt, I've never seen the chat move this fast.
No, nor have I. I was still trying to wait for someone to turn up from the UK. I feel very alone currently.
I'm sure there's someone here. And then we have Slama from Egypt, someone from Kuwait. It's great to see everyone here from all across the globe.
Welcome to Hacktoberfest.
Welcome to Hacktoberfest. It's great to have everyone. So let's go ahead and get started. And hello, everyone. Sorry if I didn't get to click on your name. It's great to see everyone coming in, though. This is so fun. Super excited to see you all here. It's so fun. I love doing this. This is the best. This is the best job in the world. So let's talk about Hacktoberfest. So we have a really awesome agenda for you today. First off, welcome to all of our friends from all over the world. As we can see, there are so many people coming in. Still, the chat's lighting up. It's great to see everyone. Super excited to have all of y'all here. As we've said before, my name is Mason. This is Matt. As you can see, we live as digital avatars on the internet most of the time.
Yep.
So
you get to see Mason's face today, but you won't see mine.
Unfortunately, one day, Matt's face will appear on live stream, but today was not the day. So, if you're new and you don't know what Hacktoberfest is and you're just tuning in, Hacktoberfest is our month-long celebration of open source software organized by DigitalOcean, and this year we are in partnership with Intel, AppWrite, and DeepSource. We're super excited to have our partners here with us this year, and some of them will be showing up later in the stream to give presentations about their open source projects that they need your help contributing on, which is all in the spirit of open source. So we're super excited for that. And before we go any further, we have a special message from y'all from the CEO of DigitalOcean, Yancey. So I'm going to go ahead and we're going to hear what he has to say.
Welcome to Hacktoberfest. At DigitalOcean, we believe the community is bigger than just us, which is why we celebrate the open source community throughout the month of October. We started Hacktoberfest in 2013, and that first year we had nearly 700 participants. And over the years, Hacktoberfest has grown to a community of over 150,000 participants in 135 countries who participate by sharing their projects, making pull requests, attending events, donating, and showing their support of open source. We welcome everyone of all backgrounds and levels of technical experience, especially those who are new to open source. Thank you to everyone participating in Hacktoberfest this year, especially the maintainers of open source projects. It's because of you that Hacktoberfest has been a success in bringing so many people into the open source software community over the many years. We can't wait to see what this year's contributors do. And happy hacking.
Awesome. What a lovely message.
What a lovely message. I also need to figure out where I can get a sweater like that. So definitely loving the sweater.
I'm just going to have to call out whilst we're here, Mason.
Yeah.
Legendary say, love the background music.
I do love the music.
Great fans of music when it comes to streams. And I have to agree that track was a great backing track.
It's a great backing track. Really pretty, really tranquil. Kind of really puts you in the mood for fall. Like that's kind of like a really fall mood. And I really appreciate it. So okay, let's go on with our agenda. So we're going to do a quick welcome and quick history of Hacktoberfest. So I'm going to do a couple of slides, just if you've never heard of Hacktoberfest, or I guarantee you there's something in this slide deck you don't know. We're going to talk about just the history of Hacktoberfest. Then we're all going to sign up for Hacktoberfest together, and we're all going to create our first pull request. We're going to use replit.com, which is a great educational resource that allows you to import GitHub repositories and edit them live, and we're going to do that on stream and get everyone who's on stream who wants to participate their first pull request of Hacktoberfest. Then we're going to play some games and have some swag giveaways. We have some really cool swag to give away, so definitely you want to stay for that. And then we're going to hang out and code. After that, we're going to have some open source maintainers come up and show us some of their projects, the things that they're working on that they need your help with this year. So you'll be able to like get firsthand experience on like these projects and like how you can help them, so you can continue to get the rest of your pull requests so you can complete Hacktoberfest. Got a lot going on today, and it's going to be really fun. It's a lot, but it's going to be fun. We're here for a long time and a good time. So here we go. Let's talk about the quick history of Hacktoberfest.
I like you put quick in brackets. We'll see.
Well, yeah, we'll see. Well, you know me. If you watch Cloud Chats with me, Matt and I, you know that I tend to ramble. So we'll see how quick is. So these are just some pictures that we have from all of the different years and all of the different T-shirts. As you can see, we've been doing this for quite a while. 2014 was the first year that we introduced Hacktoberfest, and we announced the giveaway. If you made more than 50 commits that year to a public repo in October, you would get a free T-shirt. This was the only year that we ever did commits. There were 676 signups, 505 completions, but that still amounted to about 50,000 pull requests, which is pretty impressive for, a first year program.
Yeah. So it was like 50 commits is a lot. So that, huge impact on open source in the first year.
Yes. And so if you ever see this T-shirt out in the wild, it's very rare.
Yeah.
Very rare T-shirt. I don't think I've ever seen one in person. I've only ever seen pictures of it. No, I did not get involved in Hacktoberfest until very late. I don't know how it completely missed my radar but I mean, I was still in university at this time.
Yeah.
So 2015, after such a great year in 2014, we came back again with Hacktoberfest in 2015. GitHub joins as a partner, and this is when we changed from doing 50 commits to 4 pull requests, 14,000 signups, almost 6,000 people completed, and 49,000 PRs. Still another really cool shirt. I've always loved the designs of the shirt.
Just a big bit of Hacktoberfest, right? It's just the unique design each year.
It is. It's honestly what makes me like super happy, and I'm always really excited to see what we come up with this year. By the way, love this year's design. It also feels like fall in a very tranquil.
It does.
It was a weird word to say. So 2016, Ready Set Hacktoberfest. This is the year that we started encouraging maintainers to mark their issues as Hacktoberfest, so that way people would be able to more easily find issues that were available and needed help for. This is the first year that we had the meetup kit and started enabling organizers to bring Hacktoberfest to their local communities. So this is the year that local events started to happen, to my understanding. We had roughly 29,000 signups, 10,000 completions, and almost 100,000 pull requests in 2016.
So in my mind, 2016 was the year that everything kind of really kicked off with Hacktoberfest. It was my first T-shirt as well.
So you participated in 2016. Wow. Yep. I should have. So, and I knew it was kind of on my radar back then because DigitalOcean had a meetup in Austin and I actually went to it and they were talking about it around that time. And I got busy and it was right when I was out of college. I was trying to like find communities and 2 ships passing in the sea at night. Didn't even know. Years later, we're together. Yeah. 2017. We have yet another year with an awesome shirt. It looks like we had 75,000 signups, 32,000 completions, and roughly 250,000 pull requests. So roughly 250,000 pull requests in the month of October.
I think this is the brightest shirt we ever did.
I think it is. It's and I've seen this one in the wild. Yes, I've seen this one in the wild a lot. It tends to be like a very common, like one that I think a lot of people associate with Hacktoberfest.
It's very easy to spot as well. So
it is very easy to spot. I have this shirt, but I might not have participated this year. There might have been some spares in the office. So 5 years, 2018, there was new everything, new shirt, new site, new partners, new brand guidelines, slightly different rules, 240 plus events around the globe. We updated the meetup kit for the world, making it localized, sending out the shirts sooner. I don't know, how long did it used to take to send the shirts? As it says,
I don't know the context here, but I'm assuming it used to be shirts got sent to the end of the month, and this was the first year we kind of let people win progressively, would be my guess.
Okay. Makes sense. Almost at 500,000 pull requests, 50,000 completions, and 100,000 signups. Really awesome. This is the year that I joined. This is the year that I joined DigitalOcean. It's actually my 2-year anniversary today, which is awesome. So 2019, this is also my favorite, like this 80s punk. This is my favorite year. Favorite design. I love this design. More new things all around. 483,000 pull requests again. And it's just really awesome. This was my first day. So I joined DigitalOcean. I was in the office for onboarding, and then I went downstairs and helped run the Hacktoberfest event in the New York office.
First day.
It was a 12-hour first day, and my manager was there. So there was like, okay, at the end of the day, is ready to go run an event? I was like, yep, let's do it. Yep. First day as a dev advocate, let's go do it. So who would have known that was
best design, I think, that year. And I think a lot of the community agrees on that one.
Yes, definitely.
Still
it
my favorite
definitely
t-shirt.
Was great. 2020 was the year of our virtual Hacktoberfest. We had new shirts. We had light and dark mode last year, so you could get a white shirt or a dark shirt. You could get trees or tees. This is the first year that we've introduced the if you don't want the swag and you'd rather help offset the carbon footprint, you could opt to have a tree planted into the Hacktoberfest forest. We had 3% of people last year choose that option. I don't remember. What's the rough number? We're at like 5, and then other people planted in the forest. I think we're about 5,000 trees, I think.
I can't remember the numbers off the top of my head.
I
should have put it in the slide deck.
Oh, no, but it's more fun to try to make Matt remember things off the top of his head. So
yeah, no, but it was the first year we had trees. And 3%, which in the context of Hacktoberfest is actually quite a lot. And the community definitely kind of picked up on it. And if you've ever been to the Hacktoberfest Discord, you'll know how much we're into the trees. And obviously, the other thing is, right, this was the first year that Hacktoberfest became opt-in. So maintainers now kind of go, I want to be part of Hacktoberfest.
Definitely. And the other thing about this is this was the year that we added in opt-in. So now, starting in 2020, this was the year you had to start adding the Hacktoberfest topic to your GitHub repository. So that way it was opt-in, and that way only if you chose as a maintainer to participate in Hacktoberfest would you get the help that was coming.
Yep. And then that brings us
to this year. 2021, introducing Hacktoberfest 8th edition. We have new partners. We're super excited to have AppWrite and DeepSource as our new partners this year, and our returning partner, Intel, has returned. So thank you so much to our partners who helped make this happen. A lot of stuff happens behind the scenes of Hacktoberfest. Matt and I have been working on this for a long time now, and you'll meet
in March.
Yeah, you started in March. You'll meet someone later in the program who her main job is to run this. You've already seen her in the video. And I guarantee you that as soon as Hacktoberfest is over, she's going to take a nice long Caribbean vacation. So cruise ships and white sands. The 8th edition of Hacktoberfest has GitLab support. People have been asking for this for years, and we were finally able to implement it. Matt's the one who implemented it, so everyone thank Matt.
The hell's nothing.
Yeah.
It actually was very little work, turns out.
Yes. The APIs are relatively similar, weren't they?
Yes, they're very similar platforms, which is no surprise. But yeah,
yes.
You can now, instead of making a pull request on GitHub, you can make a merge request on GitLab if you choose. So
this is the fun story. I learned on GitLab because that's what my university has. So, and like they use merge request instead of pull request.
Yes.
And I thought it was merge. So like when I first got into like doing open source and working with people that actually use GitHub, they're talking about pull requests. I'm like, what's a pull request? It's a merge request. And
I can't decide which is like the more correct term. Like merge request makes sense. You are making a request for something to be merged. But in my mind, pull request also makes sense because you're pulling code in from someone else's branch.
Yeah,
but I guess Git uses the term merge, so
I have no idea, but maybe, I guess. I don't know which one I like anymore. I haven't used GitLab in a while, but I love GitLab. GitLab's like, there's always going to be a special place in my heart for GitLab. I just haven't worked somewhere that's used it in a while. We also are focusing more on maintainers this year. So as we'll see later in the program, we have a maintainers track. So in the past, the t-shirts and the Hacktoberfest was mostly about the contributors. But this year, if you are a maintainer and you opt in your repository and you merge things in, you will be able to merge, like get your shirt too as through all of it, and that's super exciting. And I'm getting like, we have a special thing coming in on my messages, so which will do
many things at once here.
My brain is in two different places, but we will show this picture here in a second. We'll have the first ever look at what the Hacktoberfest 2021 t-shirt looks like. We're going to leak it. Ooh. So, and we also have the ability now for you to donate to open source projects, which we'll show more in depth on the website. But now we have set up portals through, who is it again, Matt? GitHub sponsors?
GitHub sponsors and Open Collective, both supported. So
yeah,
I'll say like if so, we're listing every GitHub project that has the Hacktoberfest topic that's sponsorable, and we're also listing every Open Collective that has the Hacktoberfest topic.
Super exciting. It's really awesome to help maintainers. Maintainers do a lot of this stuff out of the goodness of their hearts and their free time. Oh no! Look what popped up.
There we go.
There we go. So sneak peek of the Hacktoberfest 2021 t-shirt. It's going to be amazing. I'm already super excited about it. This is what happens when you click on the wrong button and you wanted to introduce it later in the program, but it popped up on the wrong screen. So
there you go.
That's what happens when you do it live. So, rules for our contributors. These have not changed. Am I correct, Matt?
Yes, correct. These are exactly the same as last year.
Exact same as last year, but we'll go over them again. 4 pull requests to complete. And can they be across both GitLab and GitHub, or do you have to do 4 on either or?
You could do 2 on GitHub and 2 on GitLab, and it will still work. We combine the 2 together before we do any of the calculations.
So any, and you could do a 3 and 1 or a 1 and 3.
You could do a 3 and 1. You could do a 4 and 0.
Yeah.
Or more than that, if you
want to classic permutations. So we'll have more. So 4 pull requests. PRs have to must have the Hacktoberfest accepted label on them, or the repository has to have the Hacktoberfest topic, and your PR has to either be merged, approved, or have the label accepted. So let's go over that a little bit more in depth. So
yes,
look for repositories that have the Hacktoberfest topic. You can browse topics, and we'll show you how to do this later in the program. For just any repository that has the Hacktoberfest topic, any pull request to that repository that gets merged or is approved or has the Hacktoberfest accepted label on it is accepted. And that will count towards your thing. The reason we have the Hacktoberfest accepted label in repositories that are that have the topic is so we know that maintainers may not have the time to approve and merge everything, but they still want to give you credit for your contribution because they value your contribution. You're helping them out. So they can add this topic and not have to worry about merging it to ensure that you still get the credit, but they have to manually do this. Or if you do a pull request on a repo that doesn't have the topic and the maintainer adds the Hacktoberfest accepted label, that will be accepted. Yeah. I recommend looking for repositories with the topic because we ask you not to don't pester someone to add the accepted label to a repository if they're not participating. Please be respectful. Don't spam our contributors. Our open source maintainers are literally the reason why everybody in tech has a job, because I can't think of a single industry that doesn't use open source. So we need to be conscious of their time and thankful of their efforts.
Yeah, so I'll say look for repositories that have that Hacktoberfest topic, and then kind of the conventional methods of a PR being accepted by a maintainer work, or that label is an alternative way to do it.
Yes. And we have a question in the chat. So doing 8 PRs merge gets 2 shirts? No, you're limited to 1 shirt, unfortunately. 1 shirt only. But if you do 8, you'll be, it's great. Yeah. You're helping out open source.
I'll say 4 is the bare minimum to win and get a t-shirt. Nothing's stopping you doing more. If you want to go out there and contribute to open source beyond the 4 pull requests, go for it.
Yes, there is no lack of work in the open source world. And now we have our rules for maintainers. Matt, do you want to go over this?
Sure. So as we mentioned earlier, maintainers this year, we kind of want to show some more love towards them. And so we're going to reward them for kind of doing the maintenance side of Hacktoberfest. And so the way we're doing that is similar to contributors. We're looking for 4 actions taken against pull requests across GitHub and GitLab. And that will then kind of put you in a list of people that are eligible to get the maintainer swag pack. And the actions that we're considering here are only within a repo that's opted in. So your repo must have the Hacktoberfest topic for actions to count. And then the actions we're considering are either adding the Hacktoberfest accepted label, accept a PR, leaving an approving review, merging a PR, and also adding a label that contains the word spam or invalid. Because open source maintenance isn't just about accepting valid PRs. You do also sometimes get PRs that aren't legitimate. And we have a mechanism for kind of flagging those, and we will treat that as an action towards hitting that maintainer goal.
Fantastic. Super excited to have maintainers get the shirts today. I think it makes sense. Yes. And all of these rules are listed on our website. It'll be
we've got a question in chat here that I think is actually worth talking about.
Definitely go ahead.
Should maintainers also register as contributors if they're doing both during Hacktoberfest? Yes, you are absolutely welcome to tick both when you register. Unfortunately, you can't combine the two. So you can't do 2 PRs as a contributor and then 2 actions as a maintainer. You either need to hit the contributor goal of 4 PRs created or hit the maintainer goal of 4 actions. But you can most definitely sign up for both and then see which one you hit.
For sure. Do we have any other questions in chat? Fernando asks, will any open source DigitalOcean repository be available for participation? Participation. Words are hard. Yes, we have some repositories that have the topic. If you find any that you want to contribute and you see that we don't have the topic, please reach out to us and let us know, and we will add the topic for you. There are a lot of repositories, especially the DO community repository, that are those are sample code for tutorials and stuff, and we don't check those. They haven't been updated in 6 years because they were for one thing. So if you find one that you want to commit to, please do and let us know. We're happy to add the topic, because we may not get to adding it to all of them. We may miss a few. It happens. So yes, if you find any, please feel free to reach out to us and we will get the topic added to it. Yes. Do maintainers, owners, PRs, merge requests get considered?
I think what you're asking is can you make a PR or merge request to your own repo as a maintainer? And the answer is yes, you can. PRs to your own projects do count, though we do obviously encourage you to go out there and find a different project to contribute to give back to open source, not just your own projects.
Definitely, yes. Yes, it's that. Also, apparently I sound like Chris Pratt.
That is a compliment and a half.
Now I don't know what to think. Okay, well, thank you for that. I don't know. I don't know what I sound like. That's what. Okay, now I'm gonna be all.
I've never thought of you as a Chris Pratt, but I guess
maybe. Do I get to tame the Velociraptors? That's what I want to do. So happy hacking. This is the t-shirt one last time before we move on to our next section. So once again, sneak peek of the t-shirt. You're gonna love it. I already love it, and I'm really looking forward to it. So now let's move on to our next section as I set up for everything that I need to do. Okay, that needs to go here. This is what I have so many open browser windows. So Matt, while I'm setting up, what are you looking forward to contributing to this year?
I don't actually know. I guess like Hacktoberfest itself, right? Unfortunately, like not open source, so it doesn't qualify me. But I think I'll be pretty busy looking after this itself and keeping it alive and working. But I do also have some plans. I know I just said like go and contribute to other repos. I do have some plans to work on some of my own open source projects that have kind of been left abandoned for a while because I'm so busy at work. And I do also intend to contribute to one specific project called Mingo, which we're using heavily in Hacktoberfest itself. And I've already contributed quite a few times over the last few months, as we found essentially bugs in the open source project as we were using it. And there's still a few other things that I owe them. So yeah, that's my plan.
That sounds fun. I'm hoping, I like doing documentation updates. I'm a big docs writer, and a lot of people always ask for docs stuff during Hacktoberfest. So I'm hoping to get to spend some time doing some docs writing. But also there's a couple of like open source, like small Golang tools that I'm looking to doing as well. So I do take this opportunity to learn some Go. The docs approach is good because like docs, I mean, and that's another great point is that contributions are not just code. Open source is more than code. If open source was just code, you'd never know how to use software because nobody would write the docs. So I love writing docs. It's a fun pastime of mine. It lets me like play around with the tool, learn about it, and then add some stuff. So if you have any docs you need written, let me know. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do now is I'm going to sign up for Hacktoberfest. So if you have not already signed up for Hacktoberfest, we're going to go ahead and do it together. And now that I think about it, I'm not going to be able to do this in full screen. And we're going to just close Slack. So
just before we do this, Mason, it's going to show your email addresses.
That's fine. My email address is I'm the easiest person on earth to find. Like that email address is all over my resume, all over my website. Like so this isn't going to hurt anything.
Right. And as you do this, I'm now panicking. You know, live demos.
Live demos. And this is Matt's code, by the way. So here's hoping. Here's hoping it works. If not, we're going to have a live debugging session.
We are. Yeah.
So we're going to click sign up with GitHub because I use GitHub primarily. And Hacktoberfest would like my existing information. We're going to click authorize.
Yep. So all we need from you in terms of GitHub access is just your profile and email addresses. Email, so we can send you an email and your profile so we know who you are.
Okay, and I am going to be a participant, a maintainer, and an event organizer.
Oh, all three.
Yeah, well, I'm going to consider this an event. Sure. And I'm also actually doing a couple here in Texas, so that'll be exciting.
I think this is an event.
Yeah. Yeah. And then I'm going to go ahead and I've got my email address. We have all of our resources. It says send me updates.
When you're going through this, please do read through the resources. We go into a lot of detail about kind of like what we consider to be a quality pull request versus what's kind of spammy. Because a huge part of Hacktoberfest is like not just making the pull request, but that pull request should be kind of a valuable contribution to open source and not just a PR for the sake of making a PR.
Definitely. Yes. Please make valid and good PRs. Yeah. And then we're going to do the one thing that no one else ever does. We're going to read the rules. We're going to read the terms and conditions. We're not going to just sign our life away and not do it. So as details talks about Hacktoberfest, it talks about the pull requests. A quick thing to note, if a maintainer reports your pull request as spam, it will not be recounted towards your participation. If a maintainer reports behavior that is not in line with the project's code of conduct, you will be ineligible to participate in Hacktoberfest. So please be kind, be courteous. That's all you have to do. It's a really easy way to live your life. And if
you do push it too far, I'm not afraid to use my banhammer. So
Matt swings the biggest banhammer, so it's pretty fun, and it's really fun to watch because we have no idea what he looks like. So
yeah. So we've read those.
Yeah, we've read those.
Lots.
We're going to click that we agree to them. We're going to click next. And now it says happy hacking. I have acknowledged these resources and understand. Yes, I helped write some of these, so I'm pretty sure I know what they are. This is
I would hope so.
One of the we did the game yesterday, and like I didn't know certain things about and I felt we'll talk about that later.
And the final checkbox there that we kind of just brushed past, it's actually kind of an important one. If you submit 2 or more spammy pull requests, you do risk being disqualified permanently from Hacktoberfest. Not just this year, but all future Hacktoberfests as well.
Yes, so
don't
definitely
make spammy PRs.
Do not. Like we can, like it's not worth it. Please don't. And now we'll be able to see our contributions as they come in. So if you've now, hopefully everyone is signed up for Hacktoberfest, and let's go ahead and do our first.
Well, hang on. Before we do that, Mason.
Okay.
I just want to actually touch on, say you've signed up with GitHub here, and then you also want to do some PRs in GitLab.
Okay.
I'll just kind of quickly explain how to do that. If you press the edit profile button on your profile, it will load up, and there's a button down there to link your GitLab account. So you don't want to register again with GitLab as a separate kind of user in Hacktoberfest. You just want to go into your edit profile and link the 2 accounts together.
That's good. I don't think I have a GitLab account.
I mean, theory,
I need to
you
get
can just
one.
create one from GitHub, but not worth doing now.
Not worth doing now. Yes. So let's go ahead and
I do appreciate this, Mr. Demon Wolf. The website did not crash, which is good. I agree. My blood pressure has dropped a bit now.
I guess actually, do we want to talk about this? Because this is a pretty fun question to talk about. What is this hosted on?
Sure. So the front end of the website you're looking at right now is hosted on App Platform, our own product. It's a Nuxt app, statically generated, statically built, and then hosted as a static site on App Platform. And then the backend API service that makes it all work is hosted on our own internal infrastructure.
And what's the backend?
It's just a Node app.
Node app? Okay.
Very tiny little Node app.
Cool.
We were chatting about this earlier, actually, in the Discord. It's using like maybe a gig of RAM to power all of this, which I don't know, blew my mind compared to like the Rails app last year.
Phoebe, you're here. Are you here to say hi with us? What's up?
I don't know how that just happened. Yeah, I just decided. I was like, it's time. No.
Okay.
You can send me to the backstage again.
Well, just go ahead and introduce yourself while you're here before we get started. Everyone, this is Phoebe. This is the Wizard of Oz, the person behind the curtain for Hectoberfest. So,
Hey, good morning, everybody. Yes, so this is my first year with DigitalOcean, and Hacktoberfest is one of the programs that kind of falls into my open source world that I live in. And yeah, I'm really excited about this year. And you know, Matt, actually, I started with Hacktoberfest in 2016 too. That was my first year kind of interacting. Yeah.
The big
2016
year.
was a good year.
oh my goodness, yes. Awesome. Well, Phoebe, we'll have you back later in the program to just hang out with us and stuff. But unless you want to, do you want to do our pull request with us, or do you have to go answer emails?
No, I'll do pull requests with you, but I can be in the backstage. And I just want to mention too that if you hear DigitalOcean in the chat, that's probably me.
Woo, yes. Phoebe's back here running all of our chat stuff because, as you could tell, as I was getting messages earlier, I can't do 2 things at once.
Especially with streaming, really like streaming takes more than the average amount of brain capacity.
Well, it's because there's not allowed to be silence. Like I have to keep talking and doing stuff. But anyway, we're off on a tangent, and we know that we do this. So Phoebe, we will pull you back in later to chat about stuff. Actually, come join us for the games. We'll have you join us, and everyone join us for when we do our Kahoot game, and we'll have a lot of fun with that. So
yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, we'll see you in a little bit. Fantastic. Okay, so now. Love Phoebe. She's great. Let's go ahead and do our first pull request. So our first pull request we're going to do towards a very popular and very common DigitalOcean repository. It's called Cloud Haiku. We're going to go ahead and zoom in. So Cloud Haiku is exactly what it sounds like. It's haikus about the cloud and technology. So we're going to go ahead and go. Everyone who wants to follow along, I'm going to put the link in chat. It's also at github.com/do-community/cloud-haiku. And everyone will go here. And I'll give everyone a second to get there. And we're going to fork the repository from here.
Yeah, so make sure you're signed into GitHub and ready to contribute.
Yes. So he's giving everyone time to show up.
How long does it take?
Well, I'm also dealing with stream delay.
Yeah.
So this is welcome to the fun of live stream.
Let us know in chat if you're ready to go to the next step.
Yes. If only I had thought of saying that.
It's so difficult. It like 2 years ago, right? You were doing this in person when you could just talk to people and sit.
Yeah, when I could look up and I could see the terrified eyes, and I was like, okay, they're terrified. Time to go. So, okay, looks like everyone's ready. So let's go. When you're in this repository, go ahead and click fork, and you're just going to ask you which thing you want to fork into. So Mason Egger is my personal one, so we're going to fork into Mason Egger. You have your own. I would recommend forking it into your actually, you have to fork into the personal. Don't fork it into an org because I don't think it'll show up, right, Matt?
Yeah, I just fork. Well, you can fork into an org, but I would just fork into your personal account. It makes it much simpler.
Yeah.
Imagine most people just have their personal account. Not everyone's in an org.
Well, no, they do that thing where you get a free org now. There's so much. There's so much we can talk about.
Just click your personal account. It'll be the top.
Click your personal account. Yes, we're making things overly complicated. That's what we do. So now it'll have your GitHub username and Cloud Haiku. And now normally you would clone this repository and perform your code changes, commit them up. But today we're going to use something a little bit different. So everyone now, if you have your own developer environment in which you can do all of this, feel free to use it. Okay. But for the sake of let's being able to do this on screen, where if you don't have a terminal, or maybe you're working on a Chromebook, or you don't have access to a development machine right now, we're going to use replit.com, which I'm also going to paste in the chat. Words hard.
I swear we're going for an all online experience here.
Yes, I swear I'm a professional. So, okay. And if you don't have a replit.com account, they are free. You can easily sign up for one. And I would recommend just continuing with your GitHub.
Yeah.
Actually, you should. It's going to be a lot easier because we're going to be able to link our GitHub repositories directly to Replit and edit our GitHub repos in Replit. So you want to continue with GitHub here if you're going to use this. Again, if you have your own way of doing this, download to a terminal using Vim. Honestly, you could even do this inside of the GitHub GitHub UI. You could even
do it in GitHub's web UI, or as Esron points out, you can press the period key on the repo and do it in code spaces now.
Yes, you can totally do it in code spaces.
Sometimes
code spaces is mean to me, so we're using Replit today.
Yes, I agree. Code spaces is sometimes a bit temperamental.
Yes, so today we're going to use Replit. And yes, and I eventually one day I will learn how to use code spaces. So we're going to click continue with GitHub. And once you've already in, you will have a Replit that looks something like this. And this is, if you've never used Replit before, you can create interactive learning environments and stuff. It's just a cool tool. If you're a teacher, it's amazing. Like I use this whenever I was teaching, and I love every minute of it.
See, I just go to Replit sometimes just to test something. It's sometimes quite often just faster to go here, create like a node environment and test a couple of things than it is to get a project going locally.
Exactly. Yes. So it's browser-based coding. Yes, I can zoom in totally. So, and then once you're in here, you should see something that says like GitHub repos. And then what we're going to do is we're going to click view your repos, and this is going to allow you to find the Cloud Haiku repo.
So presumably if you just start typing Cloud Haiku in here, it will turn up.
Yes. So it has the IntelliSense kind of stuff. So we're going to click Cloud Haiku, and we're going to click import from GitHub.
Yep, and this is going to tell REPL. Is it REPL or REPLit? Which do they prefer?
Well, it used to be REPL.it, so it was Replit, but now it's Replit.com. And okay, they want me to turn on dark mode. Can I find dark mode in Replit?
Give it a second.
No, I don't even know. If I can't find dark mode, I'm sorry. I don't know where it's at.
Presumably it's under the hamburger, top left, I'd imagine.
Yeah, but now I have to wait for it to finish detecting the...
So what Replit's doing here is going to GitHub and just making a copy of the entire repository that you've just forked.
Yes, and then it's using its underground tech to basically detect the language. Now, I believe this is just...
What's he going to detect it as?
I'm curious. I think this is just a Jekyll site.
It is a Jekyll site, which would be Ruby, but...
Is there a dark mode button? I don't see a dark mode button.
Click on yourself now. Oh, who knows?
Okay.
Someone
I'm sorry for your eyes.
Okay, hang on. Someone says settings cog on the left.
I swear, sometimes everyone is just dark mode.
Eyes.
Dark mode.
So
Wah. We're fine. Okay, so in this
chat's happy now. So
chat's happy. Yes, IDMX asks, are we earning our first PR? Yes, if you do this with me through to the end, you get your first PR. It'll be amazing. So that's what we're doing. We're earning our first PR. So the Cloud Haiku is relatively straightforward. What you're going to do is you're going to create a new markdown file, and you're going to just write a haiku about the cloud. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click this add file button.
So make sure you selected the haikus folder first.
Yes, make sure you're in the _ haikus folder.
Which is very big.
I'm actually very impressed with the fact that Replit can parse this many files. So, and then I'm going to call this one, I don't know, Mason _
2021 Hacktoberfest, because there's already a 2020 in there. _ Hacktoberfest.
_Hacktoberfest.
I think that will then follow the format from last year's demo.
You must use a different one. You must have a different name.
Give your haiku a unique name. Yes. Otherwise, we're going to end up. We're not going to deal with Git merge conflicts today. So
no, we're not. Like this is. We're not here for that. Like
we're going to need to stem into a bit of creativity here, which I know sometimes developers struggle with. But give your haiku a name, and then we're going to write a haiku.
You can literally do your first name _ last name _ haiku. It's not, I'm not going to tell you it's the greatest thing on earth, but it works, and it's very likely unique. So then what we're going to do is I'm going to just copy and paste from one of the haikus. So pick a haiku because it's got a format, copy and paste, open yours. Mine was called 2021 haiku, and we're going to paste it in here. Author, I don't know who SB was, but Mason Eckert is the author of this one. And now I will also put this in here, because I am sometimes bad about knowing how to actually count haiku syllables. So haiku.
Can I just explain quickly here? So in this markdown file here, what you've got at the top, you've got the 3 dashes on the first line, which indicates that you've got what's called front matter in the file, which is actually just YAML. If anyone's ever touched YAML before. And it just kind of tells Jekyll a couple of things about what's in the file. So it'll tell Jekyll here that we're going to use, when the page generates, we're using the haiku layout. And then we're just giving it a title and an author. And then you've got the 3 dashes again to mark the end of the front matter. And then you're just writing plain old markdown after that point.
Yep. Okay. And we have the question in here. Okay. So someone's asking us to slow down a little bit. We will slow down a little bit. What is a haiku? Yes. So a haiku is I believe it's a traditional Japanese poem that is usually about nature, but we are changing that to be about cloud and cloud technologies and stuff. And it is set in this, it's 3 lines where the first line has 5 syllables, the second line has 7 syllables, and the third line has 5 syllables. If counting syllables and that kind of stuff is difficult, this is why I sent you the haiku syllable counter, because obviously I'm bad at these things. And I use this today, and I've already got my haiku written here.
Zoom in.
I'm going to zoom. They don't need to see this one.
They do, because you're going to write your haiku.
I already wrote it. I'm going to put it over here so I can write it again.
Oh, here's the one I made earlier?
Yes, because I can't write a haiku on the spot, Matt. I'm not Daniel.
Disappointing.
Can you tell that Matt and I get along? Yeah, we get along. Okay, so hopefully everyone has gotten to this point. If you're ready and you've gotten to this point, I'll go through the steps one more time really quickly. You would go to the _ haikus folder once you've imported it in Replit. You're going to click New File, give it a name. I would recommend doing something unique like your name _ whatever you want to call it, because we don't want to deal with merge conflicts, and we're not going to watch Mason fail through a merge conflict on stream. We're just not going to do it.
So fun.
No, it wouldn't. It would be awful. Merge conflicts are called RM-RF, and then you just reclone the thing.
Yes. One way to do it.
It's one way to do it. I promise I'm a real software engineer. And then you've got this layout. So you have the three dashes on top, layout, haiku. Honestly, the best way to get this is to copy and paste it from one of the billion haikus in here.
Copy paste.
Nice. Yeah, copy paste. We're software engineers. We don't get paid by the word. Copy paste. Yeah. So copy paste, and then we're going to go over to this Haiku syllable counter, and we're going to type a haiku. So the one that I've written is today is the day, which is 5 syllables. Today is the day, and I have to count on my fingers because I'm bad at syllable counting.
I'll be honest, that's instinctively how I'd count syllables as well. Is that like something we get taught in school at some point? Just like instinctively, I went to my fingers to count syllables.
Yeah, that would be interesting. Oh my goodness, Avish says, what if the PR miraculously gets merged? Well, it probably won't, because I know who maintains this repository, and I know when she works on these. Also, I will probably end up deleting mine because I've done this repo. So if you want to do this one, you can, but you're gonna fight with everybody else. Don't write your own. Make your life
Write your own
easier.
haiku, yeah.
Write your own haiku.
Have a bit of a creative start to the day or end to the day.
Yes, a little bit of fun. We're gonna say Hacktoberfest number 8. Hacktoberfest is 5 syllables. No, it's 4.
Oktoberfest, yeah.
4, number 8, and then we're going to say hooray open source. And then once you're ready, you click count haiku syllables, and down here it says 575, which is what you're looking for. Today, if I was to say today is not the day, and I was to count the haiku syllables, it would say 675. This would not work. The haiku repository has a GitHub action that actually does count your syllables, so it has to be correct. Yes, I've been failed by that before because I don't know how to write a haiku.
So yeah, make sure you've written a proper haiku before we do this.
Yes, and then once you've done that, you can just copy paste it from here back to your replit. I'm just going to right click paste. I did see that some people put the break tags here. I don't know if it makes that big of a difference. It looks like it does.
You'll need them because Markdown by default doesn't treat a line break as a line break. You need
it doesn't.
Line breaks
or a double space. So
yes,
which is not fun.
I think most files in this repo just have actual break tags at the end of them.
Yay! So once you are done with this, you can save it. I'm actually curious how I'm supposed to do that, but we're gonna find out. I think it autosaves.
Autosave, yeah.
Well, let's close it and reopen it and see if the stuff's still there. Yep, it's still there. So this is unfortunately, you're not going to be able to build this locally to test it, but if it comes up looking like this, it will work for you. Where are we at on time? Okay. So now we're going to go to the shell. And what we're going to do, we're doing shell or console?
Shell.
What's the difference? Why is there 2?
I think console is normally like a REPL environment for whatever language, but
okay,
we'll use it.
Actually, this looks more like this looks better to me, in my opinion. Like that looks more like we're going to.
I think both are the same at this point.
I think they are, because I think the console, this is a Python project. I think it might actually be like a Python replit, but I think since this is a Bash project, it's a Jekyll site, they just give me a Bash prompt. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to run a couple of Git commands.
Oh, that's where it gets complicated.
This is where it gets complicated. And now I have to remember how I want. So we're going to type git status.
Yep, you should see.
An underscore. Yeah, an underscore replit. We're not going to do anything with that file. We don't want to upload it. So let's go ahead and do a git add haikus and the name of your haiku.
So that's now telling Git that you want to actually commit that file.
Yes. So, and I will. Should I put the command in chat?
Well, if you now run git status again, it will now show that you've actually kind of marked that file as something you want to commit. So there you go. That's how you can check that it worked.
Yes. So we're going to go ahead and I'm going to pause a little bit so people can catch up. So the commands here are, you're going to do a git add. I'm going to highlight this. It doesn't really help, does it? A little bit, but you're going to do a git add here. And then let's check the chat, see if we've already done. Looks like we're doing good.
Avnish says, I've already done a git add period. Does a git add period track dot files by default? You might have to check that if you've tracked the replit dot file. And if you have, you might need to do a git rm on it, because we don't want to include that file in the pull request.
Yeah. And yeah, you definitely don't want to include this because like this will be like someone else's repository. And if you accidentally include it, you will be told by the maintainer, hey, can you remove this file? It's not like it's a big deal. But if you want to get it right now, it's better if we do it this way. So let's go ahead and do a git commit -m. Looks like I'm having some fun. And then we're just gonna say adding.
Hang on. Your stream's taking a second here.
Am I still coming through clear?
Your voice is coming through. Your stream is a bit laggy.
Yay. Hooray for Wi-Fi. Are we good?
I think you're back.
Am I back? Am I moving?
I think you're good.
I'm moving. Woo! Okay.
Yeah, you're moving.
So we're going to do a git commit -m adding my haiku. And now that we've done that, it's going to say added it in. It says one file changed, create mode, blah, 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 blah. But basically, we have now committed it. And now what we want to do is we want to do a git push. This is where
you run git push and then you copy paste.
Yes. Well, this is where we're going to have to type in our username. And this is where it's going to be a little bit different. We're going to have to go do something else. So GitHub used to support password. It does no longer do that because passwords are technically an insecure mechanism. We can have that argument on Cloud Chats next week, Thursdays at 11. Not doing it today. So what we're going to do is we need to go create ourselves a personal access token in GitHub. Now, if you're doing this via SSH on your own machine, you don't have to do any of this. And this is how I would recommend it. This is how I do it, is using SSH keys. But because we're doing this in Replit, we don't necessarily want to add our SSH key to Replit. You might be able to. I think it's quicker if we just do this.
Yeah.
So we're going to go to developer settings. We're going to create a personal access token. We're going to generate a new token. I'm just going to call this HFest. I'm going to set this to expire custom in 1 day. Second, we're going to do a repo. I'm going to take this and pull it over here.
Put it in a different window.
So I'm going to click. So I clicked generate token, and now I can see the token, but I don't want you to be able to see the token. So
you might also want to pull the Replit window.
No, I don't think it echoes.
It might.
If it does, I will delete it as soon as I'm done making the pull.
Sure, whatever.
So please don't steal my tokens. I'm not in the mood today. We're going to right click here and paste. It does not look like it did it. And the push works. Okay, so now I can do this because I can delete this really quickly. This was the screen you were going to see. And as you see, you would have gotten a token right here. You would have copied this by clicking the copy. You would have pasted it in, and then that will work. Instead of using your password, you have to create this token.
And now Mason's press the delete button.
And now you can't steal my token.
Very good.
Very good. Very good. So now
delay's going to save you on that one.
Actually, you're right. Stream delay will save me on that one. So we're going to go back to our repository, and we're going to refresh. And now it's going to say, hey, your branch is ahead. 1 commit, 2 commits behind community main. We're just going to click fetch upstream, fetch and merge. Hopefully nobody was mean to me.
Nope, no one stole yours by the looks of it.
Well, it's still
the
branches.
You're up to date.
Okay, we're good. Yeah. And then now, so fetch and merge.
Commit ahead because you've got a merge in there as well, but you're fine.
Oh, fantastic. Okay. So now, we're going to click on this contribute. They've changed the UI again. Happens every year. We're going to click here and we're going to say open pull request. And it says, hey, this is able to merge. It's got it. We're going to click the big old green pull request button. We're going to, for the title, we're going to say my first Hectoberfest PR. We're going to say, woo, I don't know, put something useful there.
Yeah, tell us about the inspiration for your haiku.
Yes. And now your pull request is in. I know the person who runs this repository. So within a couple of days, is that you, Matt? Oh no, someone else is doing it. Well, hey,
I'm not doing this. No.
Someone else is making emojis on my
Someone's following you along.
Fantastic. I'm glad we're doing this. Thanks for that, Miga. And now you're done. And now this will eventually get merged in. It will go through a CI process to let you know if there's anything wrong. You may get some responses back from the maintainer, but you now have completed your first PR. If it's valid, it'll get merged in, and everyone should have gotten their very first one. So
just run through that one more time from kind of adding the file to Git from that point onwards, just for people who got stuck somewhere along the way.
Let's pretend like I'm going to make a change here. Hooray, open source. Yeah. Hooray, open sources. That sounds fun. So what we're going to do is we're going... do we have to do a git pull here? Or, no, we're up to date. Fine. Oh, no, because we did merge in, remember? We merged ahead.
Anyway, here we go.
We're going to do a git add and then the name of the file. So it's underscore Haiku 2021. I swear I can type. We're going to do a git commit -m, and then we're going to say changing, or we'll just say my first Haiku, because we're going to pretend like we're doing this for the first time.
Yep.
Haiku. So it's git add. So remember, if you're a software engineer, we only know 3 commands: git commit, git add, git push. Yep. Everything else is completely optional. I hope someone gets. I hope they hear the sarcasm.
Is do git add to tell Git I want to track this file. Give it your file name. Run that command, and Git will start tracking that file. And then git commit, and you're using the -m flag to tell Git kind of what message you want to associate with that commit. So whatever you want. Run that command, and it will tell you that your commit has been made.
Yes. Okay, and then we have that, and then you will do a git push. And remember, you have to go to Git. You will ask you for your username and a password. Remember, the password is this
step
token.
Through that again. It won't ask you it again. Let's step through it. Well, it's going to ask you.
It will. So that's my thing. We'll come here.
Git push, add your username, and then go to GitHub. Click on your avatar. Settings. Scroll down. Developer settings. Personal access tokens. Generate a new token.
And then we'll do no expiration. We don't want that.
I'll say GitHub now does recommend you set an expiration for your tokens. And in the context of this, I recommend you do as well. REPL doesn't need to be authenticated forever.
Nope.
And the scope it needs is repo, just so that it can push back up to your repository for you.
Then you will generate the token. You'll get a key. You'll copy it. You'll come here. You'll paste it. Hit enter. And it's pushed up.
Very quickly delete that token again.
Very quickly delete the token. Stream delay. Woo! Can't have my tokens. And that's all of the Git side. Then you would go back to GitHub and do the pull request. Okay, I think that's good. Like, I think
what questions we've got in chat here? Zena asks, why does it say permission denied? Potentially you didn't give it a valid token. Try again. Make sure you go to your developer settings. Get that GitHub token that has the repo scope and use that as the password. Let us know if you still are stuck after that point.
Yes. Okay, then I'm going to ask our... Okay, yeah. Are
you doing that thing again where...
I'm doing 2 things at once. Yes. I'm asking all of our people in the backstage chat if they want to play the game with us coming up right now. I don't know why I just didn't say it out loud. Like, it seems like it would have been an easier way than actually typing and doing it, but who knows? So if my backstage chat wants to play, it's time for a game, which I have somewhere.
There you go. First pull request done. That's it.
First pull request.
Nice and simple.
So
if you get stuck at any point along the way, on the Hectoberfest website, there's a whole heap of resources about getting started in open source. GitHub has a load of great resources on making your first pull request as well, going through kind of a very similar set of commands that we just went through here.
Okay, and now we're going to pull in Brandon, who is one of our open source partners from AppWrite. Great to have you, Brandon.
Great to be here. Thank you.
We're going to pull in Jamie, a friend of mine who works on the ever so wonderful Python game engine, PPB.
Good morning.
Good morning. And then Phoebe, you also get to come play with us, but you have to pretend like you don't know the answers already. So for everyone who wants to play along, please go to kahoot.it and enter in the code 114955. The top, we'll say 3 winners, maybe more, depends, of this true or false game will get a swag pack from me, and you'll have to email me to get it. So you can send me your shipping information. And everyone who plays will get a secret swag at the end. So please join in. And while we're waiting, wow, there's a lot of people coming in. This is going to be great.
Look at this guy.
I'm excited. We do this on Cloud Chats every week, and it never gets this large. So we're going to see if, hopefully we don't run up against like some sort of limit on how many people we can have playing.
I love the names. This name generator is brilliant.
This name generator is brilliant, yes. So did we okay, there's that decisive orcs again. Did we ever figure out what an orcs was? That's that weird like anteater antelope thing, right?
I think
no,
so.
it's like a goat and it's like a brown body with like a black and white face and really long horns.
This is educational.
So
far too educational.
Way too much education. We're learning about code, grammar, poetry, and animals all in one place.
Yeah, so look at this guy. Look at everyone joining.
I
the
love
quiz is Hacktoberfest, right?
Yes.
Obviously.
So this is our true or false game. We play this on Cloud Chats every week. So if you enjoy listening to Matt and I banter, every Thursday at 11 Eastern, we did a show. We did one yesterday. But this is a true or false game where there will be 10 true or false questions, and you will have to race to get them right and to win. And it's not only about correctness, but it's about speed. So you have to be quick on this, and we will see who ends up winning. Wow, we're coming up on 100. Can we get to 100?
Yep. So for those in chat that are asking for a link, just hoot.it. It's on the screen there. And then enter the game pin 114955.
Yes. Oh, we're over 100. This is amazing. Never seen it this much. I wonder at what point we're going to break the name generator.
Well, so like, how many combinations does it have? There must be some limit somewhere.
I mean, technically.
I imagine it would not be as bad as like 112. So, like, I think we're doing good. But wow.
How long do we want to give it before we press get started?
I'm going to give it another about 20 secs.
And
also,
don't worry, if you don't,
you can always join in.
Yeah, I'll say if you don't join before we start, you can join in at any point along the way, and you still have a chance of winning. I know on Cloud Chats before we've had people join like halfway through and still hit the leaderboard, because as we said, like it's not just about getting it right; it is about that speed.
Yes, and it depends on how mean I was the day I was writing the questions. So I'm also going to pull up our Cloud Chats folder real quick, so I have the little message to put about emailing me, because we've watched me fail at typing that so many times.
I think I'm more nervous for this than a live demo, because at least I can prepare in advance. Like now I'm afraid to lose.
Yeah. There's some tough questions in here. We did this for anyone who watched Cloud Chats yesterday. This is the same quiz as yesterday, but in a different order.
Yes.
So make sure you've got all that Hacktoberfest knowledge up in your brain ready to go.
Yeah. And I think we're going to go ahead and go. We're at 142 out, and we have I'm seeing 189 people streaming, so or like watching. So that's amazing.
That's pretty good.
Like 3/4 of the participation. Oh, and we have to use my sound effects. I have my Cloud Chat sound effects.
Yeah, that's the best part.
In 2021, if you complete 4 valid pull requests, you can get a t-shirt and stickers and have a tree planted in your name. Tell me, is this statement true or false? In the 2021 Hacktoberfest edition, if you complete 4 valid pull requests, you can get a t-shirt and stickers and have a tree planted in your name. Remember, speed counts as well as accuracy.
That's gonna be a good test of Hacktoberfest knowledge. I can feel it.
Oh, it's right down the middle. So if you get 4 valid pull requests, you can have a t-shirt and stickers, or you can have a tree planted in your name. You do not get all 3.
Unfortunately not. I wish we could. But when you win, you do have the choice between either getting a t-shirt and stickers or opting to plant a tree instead.
Yes. So let's see what our leaderboard looks like. Prairie Wolf, Dazzled Raccoon, Amazing Goat. These are so close together. This is great. I love it.
This is where speed comes in, because over time these numbers will start to get really quite big and far apart.
Yes. So next question. During the first year of Hacktoberfest, 505 people earned a shirt.
If you're paying attention when we did the history earlier, you should know the answer to this.
It was in my slides.
Look at those numbers roll in.
It's fantastic. This is true. 505 people did get a shirt the very first year. That's why the first shirt is extremely rare, seeing as how we've sent out tens of thousands after the fact of other years. Oh, Majestic Stork coming in the lead, but trailing by 1 point is Creative Pony and then Smooth Squid. This is so much fun. I love saying these names. So here we go. True or false? In 2021, a PR labeled with Hacktoberfest accepted on a repo without the Hacktoberfest label will count towards your goal. So in 2021, a PR labeled with Hacktoberfest accepted on a repository without the Hacktoberfest label, it's also known as a topic in GitHub, will count towards your goal.
That's a bit of terminology that gets so confusing. Labels and topics. I
don't know why they decided to call it. I mean, I get it, but at the same time, I don't like it. So this is true. If there is a Hacktoberfest accepted label, yeah, it will count towards it. Okay.
Yeah. So that Hacktoberfest accepted label, no matter where the PR is, will let a PR count towards you winning.
Yes. Oh, we have the leaderboard change up again. Creative Pony coming up, Majestic Stork, and then Witty Rabbit. These are awesome. I love these names. The first year of Hacktoberfest, 50 commits were required to get a limited edition t-shirt. So in the first year, did you have to get 50 commits?
We should go back to that. So interesting.
It's a lot. But you're right. It's a weird. I think about the rules every year.
I don't know. I think it would just be interesting to see, like, given how much bigger Hacktoberfest is now, who can actually hit this?
Also, if you multiply 60,000 people by 50 commits, that's a lot of commits.
It is, yeah.
That's a lot of commits. So, this is true. The first year was 50 commits, and ever since then, we have moved on to pull requests and now merged pull requests. So, Creative Pony's keeping the lead, but Amazing Goat's coming up. Witty Rabbit right behind. I feel like I'm at like a racetrack. Like... The first Hacktoberfest was in 2013. Is this true or is this false?
You know what really irritates me about this question?
What?
That capital F.
Oh, we gotta talk to Kim about that. Remember, she made this one this week.
Hacktoberfest is a single word.
Yes. So is DigitalOcean, though, and that's This was false. The first year of Hacktoberfest was 2014. This is year 8. 8 years back would be 2014. I might have had to count that on my fingers. Don't judge me.
It's those off by 1 errors that get you.
Every time. So, Amazing Goat, Witty Rabbit, Tropical Swan. Next question, 6 out of 10. Only DigitalOcean employees can facilitate Hacktoberfest events. Can only DigitalOcean employees facilitate Hacktoberfest events? This is false. I'm glad that so many people got this right. Yes, this is false. Anyone who wants to facilitate a Hacktoberfest event can do so. You can register your event on the Hacktoberfest website, and you can. We recommend that everyone does them virtually. But if your community is doing whatever, do you? Please be safe. Be safe. It's a weird time. Be safe.
Yeah, so
but anyone can do it.
On the website, not only can you register your event there, but we have a whole host of information in our event kit for kind of the best way to run a Hacktoberfest event, including a load of brand assets as well, so you can promote it.
Yes, definitely. So, Witty Rabbit's coming up. This is actually the most competitive it's ever been, Matt. Like, we're seeing the leaderboard.
I'll say in Cloud Chat, normally there's 15, 20 people competing, and there's normally a few that kind of hold top place, but this is all over the place.
Yeah. So, we'll go ahead and go with our next question. In 2021, maintainers can mark spam PRs with the label invalid or spam.
This music just brings so much suspense.
It's tension.
It's a game show that you can't put your finger on.
Okay, yes, you can label these as invalid or spam this year.
Yeah, so actually, even further than that, it's not just the word specifically invalid or spam. Any label that contains either of those words counts. So if you like your emoji in labels, go for it. You can have an emoji afterwards and we'll still detect it.
Definitely. So, next question. I love how many people are enjoying the music. During 2020's Hacktoberfest, as of this moment, 3% of participants have opted into pick trees, not tees option. So did 3% of participants in 2020's Hacktoberfest opt in to have trees picked instead of t-shirts?
I didn't even know that was an option in 2020.
It was.
Yeah,
You could have opted out, and we're doing it again this year. So you can totally, if you don't want the t-shirt, you can opt in to have a tree planted in the Hacktoberfest forest, which just sounds cool.
It does.
It does. It sounds kind of metal when you think about it. Like, that might just be me. Anyways, this is true that 2020 was the first year, and t-shirts are also, trees are again this year. Oh no, the top leader got moved down. We're back at tropical swans up here.
Yeah,
and I
so
think
last year, right, we had 3% of people pick trees. I am very determined this year that we'll get that into double digits.
Very hopeful. Although the t-shirt looks really good this year.
The t-shirt's always actually really fantastic.
Yes. For 2021 Hacktoberfest, pull requests on repos in Bitbucket will count.
I love the stock image here. It just makes me laugh every time.
Kahoot has some amazing stock images. And we do this every week, so sometimes the stock images have nothing to do with the subject matter.
Yeah.
This is false. It's GitHub and GitLab. Bitbucket is not supported this year.
For
what do we
reasons
got?
I'm not going to go into.
Yeah. Agent Raccoon coming up, Epic Zebra, but it is still anyone's game. Mad 127th place, we believe in you. Come on. Like,
you can do it. Look at the numbers here. We're so close together. Like, you could.
Yeah, we can do it. Last one. True or false? For 2021 Hacktoberfest, a valid pull request is any PR that has been merged by a project maintainer. I'm glad that people like my music. I spent a lot of time working on that music.
Here we go.
Here we go. This is false. Matt, you want to explain?
Sure. Yeah. As we mentioned earlier when we talked about the rules, Hacktoberfest is now opt-in. So the pull request doesn't have to just be merged, but it needs to be in a participating project that has the Hacktoberfest topic on it. Or alternatively, the pull request having that Hacktoberfest-accepted label for a project that's not participating.
Definitely. So, let's see who won. This is our podium. 10 out of 10, Champion Lemur. Nice. I mean, you're a champion. You're in third. Of course you are. 10 out of 10, Epic Zebra. Wow, all 10. I mean, they all had to be 10 out of 10s, but the fact that it was Eager Finch, and Finch is a little bird. So, looks like Dandy, I don't know what that, either way. If you were in the top 5, you're going to email me. I had something queued up for else that I wanted to type in the chat. So you're going to email me at mason@digitalocean.com with your shipping information and a screenshot of your winning screen. So take a screenshot of the screen before you close out. Email me and we will send you some DigitalOcean swag.
Top 5 people, not everyone.
Top five, not everyone. And I need that screenshots to prove you were top 5. However, we do have something for everyone. And I'm going to really quickly bring that up as soon as I can. I think I have it open here. I have it right here. So let's go ahead. So if you are not aware of Julia Evans and her amazing zines, you should be, because she's absolutely amazing. And I learn more from these zines than I have of anything else. We have partnered with her this year and Katie, the other author, to give out these zines. So we have a link. It's do.co/zines. And I need a double
zine or zines?
Zine. It's one E, no S, not plural. My bad. Oh, someone already got it for me in the chat. We're good.
There we go.
If you go there, it's a Google form. We need your email address and which zine you want, because there's oh shit Git, and then there's dang it Git if you want the non-sweary version. So everyone who wants to, please submit, and we will send you this zine for you. I personally I have it on my shelf. I would get up, but there's stuff all over my office floor. It's one of my favorites. I learned more about Git reading this than I had in all the years I've done in software engineering. Like, I read this a couple weeks ago and I learned things I never knew. It's amazing. We will get these emailed out to you as quickly as possible. And thank you so much for playing. We enjoyed that.
Oh, it was really fun.
That was really fun. I love it. So now we're going to start with Brandon. And we're going to go through our last section before we just chill. Matt and I will be here for chill, and everyone who wants to chill can hang. But Brandon is going to go through and talk about AppWrite and his open source project. So before I turn it over, what we're doing now, because I feel like I explained it really well in my head and it came out like garbage.
So we went through the agenda at the start and really haven't touched on it since.
No, we haven't. So we're going to talk about it. We have some very prominent open source maintainers here who are going to share their projects with you that they have open to open source, and they are going to show you about them, show you where to go if you want to contribute. And these are projects that you can definitely help with. That will be participating, and they really look forward to your contributions. So we're going to start with Brandon. Jamie, do you want to stay on screen, or do you want to hop off until we bring you up?
Either way, it depends if Brandon needs the screen space.
Phoebe, do you want? I think we'll remove you and Phoebe, and then we'll bring you up when it's your time, and then we'll hang out all at the end if you have time. Okay, cool. I'll see y'all in a second. Brandon, go ahead and take it away. And do you have to add your thing to stream, or do I have to add there?
There we go.
There we go. I have to do it. Okay, we're good. Go ahead.
Wonderful. Thank you, Mason. Thank you for having me, and welcome one and all to Hacktoberfest. I'm going to be here to talk about AppWrite. We're official partners of Hacktoberfest 2021, and we're super excited about what we've got coming this year. So I've got this in a separate window, and I'm going to hope that it stays in that separate window as I flip back and forth to try to also follow comments as they're going along. I believe I have people from the rest of the AppWrite team in the chat. If you have any questions, we can pull them up, and they'll be happy to answer them as well. So hi, I'm Brandon. I'm a full stack engineer at AppWrite. I started as an open source contributor of the AppWrite project before I was brought on to the core team. As can be said for all of our all of the core team came from open source first, and so hopefully that gives me enough credentials to be able to talk to you about AppWrite during Hacktoberfest. What is it, and why am I here? AppWrite is an open source backend as a service for web, mobile, and Flutter developers. It abstracts the complexity behind cloud and backend development to make app development fun again. AppWrite has a special history with Hacktoberfest because it started back in Hacktoberfest 2019, right before. This is when we launched as an official project, and it has only grown exponentially ever since. Let's talk a little bit about what the problem is that we're trying to solve. Software is hard. There's so many layers to it. There are so many different domains and responsibilities that developers need to take care of to put together an app online or anywhere that's safe for the users to use, easy for people to step in and understand and get to work. Developers have to know not only their programming language, but they need to know the web protocols, they need to know databases to be able to store stuff, they need to know security. There's so much that goes into it that we think there's room to be able to make it a lot simpler. As well as how many times have you built an auth workflow for an application, or how many times have you had to rewrite basic CRUD operations against your database? AppWrite tries to step in to abstract all of those away so that you can dive right into building cool stuff. We at AppWrite, our goal is to make software development just a lot less painful. What have we got? We've got a broad suite of APIs that you can consume either individually or all together. We covers authentication, authorization, as well as user management. We've got a full database with a responsive real-time API to go along with it. That's abstracted from the database itself. We've got file storage that is also coming with S3 and object storage support for other providers. Cloud functions to be able to write custom logic that you might need for your application. Webhooks to hook into any other third-party service automatically. Security is built in by default. We try to keep the entire security suite simple to read and understand to make it easy to audit and keep it as secure as possible. We've also got localization and geo APIs built in so that you'll be able to to tailor your applications wherever your users might be on the planet. We've got an in-depth image manipulation suite, an API, where you can transform, flip, add borders, add transparency, and really do a lot of work for image manipulation to optimize right for your apps, as well as, like I said before, a real-time API that can react to anything happening in the application. Just to give a little layout of what everything looks like and how much a typical application might need to cover. You can see that AppWrite has one central layer inside that takes all things in and sends all things out. Starting from the left, you can see all the different ways you can consume AppWrite from the API. We have a UI built in, so you don't have to manage that yourself. For web apps, native Android and iOS is coming soon, as well as any backend logic. Comes through the API layer, where you can react and respond in real time to any of the events, as well as all the individual services that are here. But before we ever get there, we go through all of the security protocols we have in place for input validation, rate limiting, and all of our abuse control. All the things that happen behind the scenes, you can see it under backend complexity. I can attest to a few of these things that they're really hard to maintain, especially an SMTP server. They're really difficult to maintain, as well as dealing with SSL certificates. And as you can see, there's so much here, and I would consider this pretty standard for a 21st century application. If you see on the very bottom, though, we have a section for docs and SDK generation. Because we maintain so many different programming languages, because we want to enable everybody to be able to build apps, we not only generate our SDKs to consume AppWrite and the docs all from our code base. So we're writing things once, we're keeping things in sync, and we are distributing all of the information as accurately as possible from one source. Why would you want it? Why do developers love AppWrite? We are fully open source, so everything from the backend logic to the admin console is completely free and open source. Can run on any platform that supports Docker. We distribute AppWrite as a set of Docker microservices. You'll have full control over where you put your data. That's becoming more of a concern as we move into more privacy-centric laws coming into place around the world and the European Union and in India. Data privacy and where you're storing your stuff matters today. As well as we try to be language and framework agnostic, because we don't want to try to reteach a new skill. We want to try to leverage the same skills you already have so that you can innovate much faster. Because we've written all of the code from scratch, we've tailored everything from the bottom to the top for a great developer experience. Not only the developers that are using the SDKs and building apps, but as well as the maintainers working on the code base themselves. We make sure that the developer experience is just as strong as the user experience might be. It's designed to scale. We built it as a backend as a service, a multi-tenant backend. So it's ready to scale out as much as you need it to, just by adding more replicates of the containers. It's secure out of the box, so that you don't have to start worrying about handling CORS requests and all the different security layers that might be necessary. Like I said before, it can work with alongside any technology that you might already have, so you don't have to start completely from scratch. You can start consuming AppWrite individually as you need it, and it's small enough to run on a Raspberry Pi with ARM support just finished. And what's next? We've got native iOS support coming in the next few weeks, very shortly. I've been seeing the pull requests come in. We'll have support for both relational and non-relational databases. So you'll be able to store your data not only where you want, but with the tools that you want to use. We've also got much faster cloud functions coming into the pipeline that will really accelerate every part of your application. We've got multi-factor authentication in the works for one-time passwords and hardware keys. Storage buckets, so you'll be able to take all of the files you need to store for your application to any provider, any S3 compatible provider, I think is the first support that we're introducing. We'll also, in the next coming months, be introducing our cloud platform. So rather than installing AppWrite, you can just use AppWrite that we're running ourselves, and so much more is in the pipeline. You can easily get started at appwrite.io/docs. We have introductions for web apps, for Flutter apps, and for server applications. We've tried to make this as simple as possible to use, so I'm going to demonstrate how we'll install it and consume it, and not a live demo because trying to keep things cleaner for us, but I want to show you just a little bit of what the code looks like because it really is quite simple to consume. Installing AppWrite is just this Docker run command that's binding to the Docker daemon on your system, grabbing the code, installing, and grabbing the right version. It's as simple as that. To bring it into your code, you have to initialize the client where you define where AppWrite is, the project that you've created, and you can set certificates for yourself if you're working in development before you hit production. You can clear away those errors by hitting that set self-signed method. Creating an account is simple as well. You instantiate the SDK and you account.create, pass in an email and password and a name, and there you've got it. The account is created. To upload a file, it's as simple as bringing in the storage API and calling storage.createFile, passing in the information that you need to upload an image. Creating documents is just as simple. You create the schema definition in the console or from a server-side SDK, and then you can create documents from anywhere with the structure that you've already defined. And lastly, we have a full real-time system built in, and it's decoupled from the database and all the individual services so that you can listen in real time and respond to anything that happens in the system, as simple as defining a callback whenever a WebSocket packet ends up on your system. I also wanted to talk a little bit about the image manipulation API that we have because it's really quite strong. There's some hidden gems in the AppWrite code base, like this one. In the avatars API, we can create a QR code just by passing in a URL, and it's generated for your app automatically. We've got all sorts of little gems from the top to bottom that really make developing an app just as simple as writing what you need. No boilerplate, no extra time, no extra waste, and all innovation. Contributing to AppWrite, we've got a bunch of open pull requests. I've already lost complete control over my GitHub notifications. We've got hundreds of pull requests, hundreds of tickets open, ready for people to grab, assign, and get to work. We've got open issues, like I said, across all of our repositories, starting with AppWrite, and all of our modules that go along with it. So if you get one of those issues assigned to you by one of our team and complete it, that'll count as a contribution. You can build a demo app with AppWrite. We want to see what can actually be done with it in the creative hands that the open source community brings. So building demo apps with AppWrite on the back count as contributions, as well as writing blog posts and tutorials about AppWrite, because Hacktoberfest isn't just about contributing code, it's about contributing to open source. And there's so much more than just writing code for open source, because no one will be able to use it if we don't tell people how. So blog posts and tutorials are a great way to contribute to the AppWrite code base and building open source as a community. And we've got some special prizes alongside what DigitalOcean has in their lineup. One contribution gets you the OG AppWrite sticker pack that we have currently on our store. 2 contributions or more starts getting you into the limited edition stuff that we've got planned just for this event. 2 contributions has our limited edition sticker pack. 3 comes with a limited edition Hacktoberfest mug, and 4 or more gets you up to the t-shirt level. We cannot wait to see what everybody's going to create and do during this Hacktoberfest season. It's really special for us at AppWrite, and for me in particular. I work on open source all day, and it's lovely to see all the people stepping in and really contributing to what makes technology as a whole better for everyone. And thanks for listening to me talk a little bit. You can find our team. It should be in the live chat now, and you can always find us at our Discord, appwrite.io/discord. And I will post our repository link here in the chat if you can distribute it for me.
Will do.
I think that's really unfortunate. My P key on my keyboard is now not working, so that makes typing the title of this repository a little difficult.
Well, it seems like you managed it here. Yeah, let me pull it up and I'll send it in the chat real quick. So, thank you, Brandon, and thank you, Appright, for being here. We're super happy to have y'all not only participating in Hacktoberfest, but as one of our premier partners this year. It's super exciting. So,
Very
great
much.
to have you.
Hacktoberfest means so much to us, and I think I'll be hanging around for the chat after everything's done. If there are any questions, and we can just chill. We'll chill for a bit.
Yeah, when we're done with our presentations, we're going to chill with whoever's left, and it's going to be a really fun. So thank you, Brandon. Super excited to maybe I want a mug. That sounds fun. I want a mug.
They're really cool mugs.
I like cool mugs. So thank you very much. And we're gonna take you off screen and we're gonna bring up Jamie. So here we go. So welcome Jamie to the screen. Jamie is a good friend of mine who I've met at PyCon, and one day in the future we will get to meet again.
Hopefully, like one of these PyCons, because I really miss, like, as much as I love doing the remote and the online thing, I kind of really miss the in-person PyCon.
I really do too. So Jamie is one of the core developers on Pursued PyBear, and I'm going to let her explain it all to you. This is one of my favorite Python projects, so I'm excited. So let's go.
Oh, thank you. So unfortunately, it's hard to follow up swag from Brandon. We are not as well endowed as a startup. We have, if you ask us nicely, we might mail you stickers. We haven't set it up, but we do have stickers in theory. We have the stickers. We just haven't. Anyways, so Pursued PyBear, or PPB. You can find us at ppb.dev. And you can see we have a lovely little bear here. You can find us on GitHub and on Read the Docs, and we have a Twitter and a Discord. PPB is a 2D sprite-based game engine oriented towards fast prototyping, education, and generally having fun. It tries to not bog you down in the messy details that can happen in game dev, and instead let you just make a game. So we pride ourselves on our simplicity. In fact, one of our favorite flexes is to live code a game on stage. Unfortunately, I think due to technical issues, I might have trouble doing that here on StreamYard. So ask me later on Discord if you want to see this flex, or maybe during the informal hangout, I can attempt it. So, but I will show you our repo. So GitHub, PPB, Pursued PyBear, or linked from the homepage. Here's the README. This is a game. This is an entire game. For anybody who has done NGEV before, this is shockingly short. For anybody who hasn't, this is shockingly short.
Yeah, I've dabbled with Unity games, and that's the shortest demo code I've ever seen for a game engine.
So I've done Pygame before, and like even that is shockingly long compared to what PPB seems to.
So as a quick layout, we have a repo. We have the PPB code is right in here. The bunch of files. A test suite, visual test, because we're a game engine. It turns out it's hard to automate the testing of some aspects of a game engine. So we have documentation, we have examples, and we have a pile of other things. So of interest to y'all is we have the Hectoberfest and the new contributor label. They point to all the same issues. You can use either one. And we just had our 1.0. We don't have a lot of bugs right now. So yay 1.0, boo, no bugs for you to fix. We have, however, lots of documentation. So if you're like Mason and you like working on docs, that's a doc, that's a doc, that's a doc, that's a doc, that's a doc.
Ooh, I think I know what I'm doing this year. Hooray.
Ooh, looking forward to it. So we have a pile of issues. We just went through them last night, so we're reasonably confident that anybody, if you are familiar with the concepts discussed in the issue, we are confident that you can step into PPB with one of those issues. Some of these are not, some of these new contributor issues might be more or less friendly to new programmers. So if you don't get one of these new contributor issues, that's fine. So,
yeah.
what is that? I really wanted to do the live demo. and I am sorry I don't get to.
You can. Do you want to? We can definitely try it in the Hangout. Okay. If not, maybe I'll do it. Who knows? Ooh. So, we have a question in the chat. Do y'all have performance benchmarks? Or what are the resulting artifacts? Y'all do some stuff with Briefcase, don't you?
We have mild Briefcase support out of the Beware project. Beware is still pretty beta. So shipping is a story we are still working on, and Python as a community is still working on, because Christ, that has been a problem in Python for decades.
This is why Jamie and I get along.
Performance is well enough. We haven't had anybody some of our demos push our performance, but so far what we're really lacking is people making us make it better. So please make a game that makes us go, oh, we need to improve that. Please give us work.
Awesome. Sounds like a lot of testing and stuff.
So I like this. Like you say, you just had your 1.0 release. I feel like almost an issue here is just play around with the library for a bit and find some bugs, because they're probably there to be found.
Oh, and to answer Mark, no, the GIL is not our problem.
What's your problem then? What causes it?
Some of our biggest stuff is actually event dispatch and just calling everything, checking for event calls and digging and finding what to call. And then also there's probably, and I haven't done a benchmarking in a while, but it wouldn't surprise me if there's a bunch of slowness around the interface to SDL. And for example, it's very hard to get out of, don't block when you're rendering the frame, please, Kay, thanks.
Yeah.
So.
Interesting. I don't know enough to tackle that problem, but that would be cool.
We've looked into it. It's hard.
I bet it is. Game engine stuff is hard in general.
There's an old saying, either make a game engine or you make a game, don't try to do both.
Unless you're the person who made Stardew Valley. The only person I know that's done it, that did it.
I mean, there's a couple. There's Stardew Valley. There's Miyagakure. There's a handful, and we all look at them like they're crazy. I think that is everything I have prepared. I am so sorry for the demo. This probably just came across as lackluster without it. So,
yeah, there's plenty. You can probably find if you Google PPB on YouTube. I guarantee you, either yours or Piper's demos will show up on YouTube.
Piper has a fantastic talk where she does the 20-minute live demo with explanations.
Okay, we will. I will try during the live hangout afterwards. We will. I'll look that up and we'll put it in the chat for sure.
So thank you very much. And that is all I have. I will be in the Informal Hangout for at least a while.
Fantastic. So for those of you that don't know what the Informal Hangout is, after we're done doing our presentations, Matt and I are just going to hang out. And we're going to chat. And we're going to maybe see if we can get this demo working. I might even try it. We'll see.
Like this is going to become Matt fixes some bugs live. Because as we're sitting, we're DMing me with certain issues. So
okay, well, that'll be even more fun. Well, thank you, Jamie. It's great to have you.
Thank you very much for having me.
Yeah. And then now we're going to move to Andrew or Pandy Knight. No, it's ppb. I'll do it real quick. It's https://ppb.dev. It's the easiest thing on earth to remember. Is what I love easy ones.
Looking for something to contribute to.
I wrote PPD. No. This is what happens. Okay. I think a PPD is what you get to test for tuberculosis. Like I think that's like anyway. Andrew Pandy Knight, my good friend, you are here.
Yo, thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, are you going to be sharing your screen?
Yes. Let me do that real quick.
Yeah, go ahead and do that real quick, and then we'll get you added in. Okay. Can I delete my PPD? Oh, I can't delete my own message. Oh.
Alrighty. Because I'm mobile, I only have one screen. So is it being displayed right now?
Yes. We have your screen, yes.
Great. Awesome. Whew. So hello, everyone. My name is Andy Knight. You can also call me Pandy. It was actually funny. Mason gave me that nickname at a PyCon a couple years ago. Just stuck. I mean, it was so perfect.
It did. We met at PyTexas in, I think, like 2019 and been really good friends ever since. So
it did. But yeah, so I am the Automation Panda. I am a software engineer and test who builds solutions to testing problems. And my team and I from Precision Lender and Q2 have developed an open source project called Boa Constrictor. This is the .NET implementation of the Screenplay Pattern. Now, what in the world does that mean? Well, if you've ever done automated tests for web apps or for REST APIs, you know it's a bit challenging because you have your automation code and your automation process that runs. And then separately, you have this other entity under test. It could be a web app, it could be a mobile app, it could be REST APIs, whatever. And to automate these tests, you need special tools like Selenium WebDriver if you're automating a browser, or some sort of REST API clients. And the dirty little secret of test automation is that automating those interactions is actually pretty tough, because you have all sorts of race conditions, you have environmental stresses, you have anything that can interrupt and go wrong that will. And not only that, but test automation code can be kind of icky. It varies from place to place, but it's overall just kind of a big challenge. And so what the Screenplay pattern is, it's a design pattern to help you make better interactions for better automation. And it's not something that we've created. It's been around for a couple years. We simply implemented it in C#, because before we did this, the major implementations were in Java and JavaScript. It's really cool because this project actually started in-house about three and a half years ago. And it's something that we developed to a point where it became bulletproof and really nice. And then we decided, hey, maybe we should release this as an open source project so more people can get the goodness of it. And we released it a year ago. It was October of 2020 is when we launched this as, you know, a public open source, free to use kind of project. So I don't want to take up too much time today. I just want to introduce what the project is, explain a little bit about the Screenplay pattern, test automation. If you just Google Boa Constrictor Screenplay, you'll end up at our GitHub pages site, which I'm showing here. If you are interested in this project, I definitely recommend reading up on things like under the Getting Started section, the home, quick start guide will show you how to really quickly get up and rolling with this. We've got a Boa Constrictor package in NuGet that you can consume if you simply want to use Boa Constrictor. We give explanation on what the Screenplay pattern is, which would, you kind of need to know this in order to be able to use the Boa Constrictor, but we try to make it easy. Why Boa Constrictor over other things like page object model, just some good reading here. And also, probably an even better way to get started, we have videos. We've recorded talks. Here's my beautiful face. I've teamed up with SpecFlow where we've actually converted an existing C# project to use Boa Constrictor, which is really cool. So feel free to watch these. If you're interested in contributing to Boa Constrictor for Hacktoberfest, please do read up on our code of conduct as well as our contributing guide. This will help you get set up with the project, know what's what, how to write tests for it, where you should be putting your docs if you have any. There's also a full-fledged tutorial if you really, really want to learn deep on how this is. We go over web UI testing and REST API testing. So over on the GitHub site, the account is Q2 eBanking. That's my company's GitHub site. And the project name is Boa-Constrictor. If you go over to issues, I've already labeled a bunch of things for Hacktoberfest. And there's even some people who've already signed up to help out with our project, which is really, really cool. So if you want to contribute, I would recommend coming here. If you're not sure where to start or you have another idea for something you want to do, feel free to message me. I'm on Twitter at AutomationPanda. You can also contact me through my blog at automationpanda.com. We'd love to have contributions. We'd love to see Boa Constrictor grow better than it is. Right now, we're sitting at version 1.3.0. Here's the package in NuGet. So yeah, feel free to ask me any questions you've got, and happy coding.
Awesome. Thank you, Pandy. It's good to see you.
You too.
Awesome. We'll catch you later. And now, finally, last person we have is, one of my favorite people, Lisa Taliaferry. So welcome, Lisa. It's good to see you again.
Hi, thanks for having me. I have to go pretty quickly, so I will.
Your internet's a little bit choppy, Lisa. Are you good?
Actually, that would be good.
Okay, that seems a little bit better now.
And you can y'all see the screen or no?
Now we can.
Yeah, you can. Okay, awesome. So I'm a Director of Developer Education at SourceGraph. SourceGraph is a great tool to help you learn more about open source software. You could search across tons of open source repositories on sourcegraph.com. So you could kind of learn how to make like new implementations or see how people are handling errors and things like that in their open source software. So SourceGraph has a great board, which I'll drop into the chat for you all in a minute. This is a good first issues board. So it's across all of SourceGraph's repositories. We really would like to encourage open source contributors. I'm not sure if there is anything tied to the Hacktoberfest element, but I will tell you that there may be a kind of Easter egg in the footer of about.sourcegraph.com to get free stickers. So something to think about. So this is my project. I started working on this app in April. We're building out a ton of learning resources that are related to code search, are related to any kind of thing that you could think of in development. We have lots of great resources on Git if you're new to Git, so please check them out. And this particular project, which is the one that I'm working on, is accepting tutorial-based pull requests. So for folks who would like to contribute to the knowledge platform here, we're going to have a bunch of issues, and we have a few already, but I'm going to add a lot more, or a little behind here. But to make new tutorials that are related to errors. So we have our contributing guidelines for Hacktoberfest contributors right here. So follow through this and consider contributing to the developer community in terms of resource sharing. And if you're more interested in doing front-end code or something else, check out our board that includes the Learn tutorials, but also includes, front-end issues and things like that too. So I have to run, but thank you so much for having me, and happy Hacktoberfest, everyone.
Yeah, great. Good to see you. And also, for those of you that are in the chat, Lisa's the one who maintains the Cloud Haiku repository. So she's looking forward to reading all of your wonderful haikus.
Yes, and be very poetic, please. And I would like them to be about cloud infrastructure. That's the whole point.
Well, it's great to see you, Lisa. Thank you very much. Okay, and now we are pretty much done with all of the formal sections, so I'm going to bring Brandon, Phoebe, and Jamie back, and now we're just going to hang out. So for those of you that have been watching, and this is the end of all of the stuff we have planned, now we're just going to hang out, talk about open source. Maybe we'll go through a little bit of the Hacktoberfest website. I kind of want to show off the donations part a little bit.
Yes.
I don't feel like we did that, so I'm going to pull that up first, and then we're just going to chat. So how's everyone doing?
This is where it gets very unscripted.
Very unscripted. Yes. We have to, be good. So giving to open source. This must be the
Phoebe,
button. So it's on the
way.
I just realized that. It's not I do that all the time.
Yes.
Yeah. I was just saying we like to be unscripted.
It's the way most of our streams tend to go, for better or for worse.
Yes. And then so you can search for open source projects here. And okay, so Matt, explain a little bit about how all this is going to run down.
Sure. Phoebe can probably talk more to why we're doing this, but in terms of how it works, on this page we just have a list of every project on GitHub that has the Hacktoberfest topic and also has GitHub sponsors set up. So if you've never seen GitHub sponsors before, it's a way within GitHub to kind of let people donate to you as a maintainer of open source. And so we show all these here. And then we're also showing open collective projects as well. So if you have an open collective, lots of collective in that, and give it the Hacktoberfest topic, we'll also show it here. This gets refreshed every so often. So yeah, this is basically every single project out there that you can donate to that has associated itself with Hacktoberfest.
Yeah, and I might mention too, so as Matt said, part of the reason why we're doing this is that we really want to be able to give back to the projects and maintainers that are kind of critical, and they might be not very as well known as some others. And so we want to bring those folks forward and get some of the love too from the community. So when you're checking them out, don't base your choosing on how many GitHub stars there are. Just really try and read through and see kind of what they're doing and contributing to the community. And some of them have like monthly payment setup where you can just donate like $1 per month, and that could make all the difference for a maintainer or a project. So keep that in mind as you're going through. But part of the reason why we wanted to do this year is that we wanted to give folks a way, like if you know that you're not going to have time to do pull requests, you can just jump in here and you can donate money directly to the project that you love. If you're using open source projects all the time, give some love back to them.
Definitely. There are a lot of projects. There's that I think, is it an XKCD comic where it's like the tower blocks, like that's holding up the entire world, and there's this one little small block that's like maintained by one guy in Arizona for the last 20 years. Yeah. I think it's like one of my favorite XKCDs.
I like that one too. Yeah.
Well, I mean, like, I don't know, I feel like the classic example of that is curl, right? That's maintained by like one bloke and is the foundation for so much of the internet.
Well, one of the two maintainers of JQ works at DigitalOcean. He's a friend of mine. So like I know everyone uses JQ, and it's only got like a handful of maintainers. So not everybody is the Linux Foundation. And where they haven't. No, it is. It's great to. I love that there are large open source projects that have that kind of backing, because we need that. But not everybody is fortunate enough to have that, and we need to make sure that we spread the fun and the goodies and the monies all over the place. So, okay, it says like XKCD 2347 is what everyone's saying.
So to answer Q&A and to jump in here, OpenSSL is no longer in that category because of what was it? It was Heartbleed, one of the first security issues with a brand, for good or bad. It is no longer in the category of mostly ignored, barely maintained open source. A bunch of stuff has been set up to deal with critical infrastructure like OpenSSL.
Yes, I remember them having the foundation for that, which is nice. Okay, so this is a good question right here, and this is another thing I want to talk about. Are there any official list of projects? So Matt, do we have some resources about this? Like,
yes, if you go to resources and go down to the contributors bit, I think we call it contributors participation. If you click on that, those two little links, GitHub and GitLab, will take you to the relevant searches. So on GitHub, you can just go to github.com/topics/Hacktoberfest, and that will show every repository that has the topic. And that's how, kind of, as we said before, that topic is how a project kind of opts in to be part of Hacktoberfest. So that'll do that. If you want to go a bit deeper, you can actually go into like GitHub's full search UI and also filter by the Hacktoberfest topic there.
You can also filter by language.
So this topic page does quite a bit of filtering for you as well, and also does a better job of like surfacing some issues as well. But you can do both. And then if we go over to the GitLab side of things, GitLab's search isn't quite as powerful as GitHub's, but you can explore by topic. So if you go to gitlab.com/explore/projects and then add the topic equals Hacktoberfest query parameter, it will let you search just for Hacktoberfest repos there.
Yes, and this is on our Hacktoberfest page under resources, and if you click on participation, you'll be able to find these links.
Yeah, and just a note about GitLab, this is their 10th year anniversary, and so they are planning all kinds of fun things. So definitely go check out the GitLab website. Yeah.
I'm excited for that.
Dear GitLab, please provide a better search engine.
And then for beginners, because I did see this, I think this also kind of goes in line with this question. So there are, on the beginners tab, there's things like awesome for beginners, up for grabs, first timers only. There's all these lists of things that show you like, these are some good awesome for beginners projects that you can work on that are, have some pretty easy things to work on, or things that won't, that'll get you there. Up for grabs, first timers only. Then if you're over here looking for some fun, you can play pull request roulette, which that sounds very interesting. I've never even heard of that. Is that literally, oh wow, okay.
It's literally just pull request, I think, yeah.
Do I have is there like I want to click a wheel.
I know, I want a button. I want a lever.
Literally just a random list, I think.
It's clearly the button push is the most important part of that experience.
Yeah.
And then there's just a whole bunch of other resources. How to get started with GitLab, the GitHub training kit, and how open source contributions can boost your career, and just a whole bunch of really valuable things here for beginners. This is all under our resources section, so feel free to do it. And then if you're an event,
one thing I'm going to touch on whilst we're here, a lot of people look for like a kind of a really simple repo to contribute to the first time. And whilst those are really valuable, we do end up actually kind of excluding a lot of this from Hacktoberfest. You'll see like a lot of repos that will be like, add your name to a list and you get a pull request for Hacktoberfest. And we don't count those. We generally try to exclude those. They're a great learning resource, and we encourage you to kind of, if you need that kind of first attempt at a PR, go for it. Use that repo to do that. But it won't count towards Hacktoberfest because Hacktoberfest is really kind of focusing on the quality of your contribution, giving back to the open source community.
Yes, which is why we have Cloud Haiku, because at least Cloud Haiku teaches you the whole process, and we at least get to have this wonderful collection of beautiful haikus. Yeah. So, which is great. Do any of my guests want to say anything? Brandon or Jamie or anything?
Well, you unit test the haikus for length, but not for quality. So,
as soon as we can get GitHub Actions to unit test poetry quality, I feel like that's a scary day.
I'm pretty sure that's AI hard.
Yeah, and like beauty is in the eye of the beholder. So like,
and did you really want the beholder to be an unthinking machine learning algorithm?
No, I wouldn't. That would be scary. Awesome.
Honestly, that sounds like a Black Mirror episode.
It does.
Yeah.
We have a really good question in the chat. What if we have a community project and want to have Hacktoberfest involvement?
Oh, so there's two things you can do. First of all, make sure you've got the Hacktoberfest topic added to your repositories, so that you're opted in and people can find you when they look at that topic page. And second thing to do, create some issues. Create a lot of issues, kind of break up. Let's say you've got a big task you want to do. Break it down as much as you can into a set of small issues, so that people can jump on each one, and give those issues the Hacktoberfest label, and also, if it makes sense to, the good first issue, I think it's called, is the other label you can do.
Yes.
And those really help with discovery. So if people are looking for like issues to find, they can filter by those labels really quickly.
That kind of ties in. Somebody else was asking if Little Plas, I think, was asking, how can I get my awesome list on the beginners list?
Make a pull request.
Email, and I might add you to the website.
Make a pull request. Like that awesome beginners list was a GitHub repository. So make a pull request.
And if you want to add it to that one that was on GitHub, make a pull request. If you're asking about like adding it to our website, you can send us an email and we'll take a look.
Yeah. So this is the GitLab 10-year anniversary. So October 8th will be their anniversary of their first commit. That's exciting. So yeah, lots of beat-ups and virtual events going on with them. So
I think I think AppRite has an event on the 6th of October. We'll have the developer advocate from GitLab coming to talk about the DevOps platform. So,
awesome. That'll be fun.
I'm excited.
Yeah, GitLab has some really exciting ops features. So,
I never got to play. Like we used GitLab when I was in university, and like that's what we had for like all the tools and stuff we built for the university. And they had just introduced GitLab runners, like Docker. This is 2013, 2014. I was working there. So and I was like super excited. And then I went off and my first job used Perforce. Nothing again. Yeah, we're just gonna leave it at that. And I've never just got to cycle back around and play with Git. I need to. That's why you do this Hectoberfest.
The short version of GitLab is it has lots of exciting features bundled in and lots of interesting stuff going on, like in the package, and also it's free to run yourself. Yes. GitHub has all of the ecosystem. GitHub has a reasonable amount built in, but also like, do you know how many services integrate with GitHub really, really well?
A lot. Yeah, I think you can even sign up for a DigitalOcean account using GitHub Auth, right, Matt?
Yes.
Yeah. I think you can also do GitLab.
I bet your application running platform can pull from a GitHub repo.
It can. A platform pulls from GitHub and GitLab. Yeah, GitHub, GitLab, and then Docker Hub, and then the DigitalOcean Container Registry, which is really fun. And I actually like doing that. I like building my images and pushing them. It makes me feel like I'm doing production stuff again. Developer advocates don't deploy a lot of production code.
The qualifier there, right, is that we like Hacktoberfest and like app platform stuff only support the hosted cloud instance of GitLab, not kind of say you
GitHub
had your
Enterprise.
own instance of GitLab running. Yeah. That's not supported, which is kind of the big difference between GitHub and GitLab, right? Anyone can spin up an instance of GitLab themselves. For free, whereas GitHub costs a bit of money if you want to run enterprise.
It costs a good bit of money, as it turns out.
Yeah, I had spun up my own GitLab once on DigitalOcean. This is like 2016, 2017, and I used it for a little bit, and then I realized that like I was making my life harder by running my own private instance for 2 repositories and paying $15 a month for it, because GitLab does need a little bit of resources to run. Like you can't. I don't think you could do a GitLab instance on a $5 droplet. You need at least 2 vCPUs.
Yeah, if you're looking for something, and if you look at like the architecture and dive into the ops stuff, it's kind of complex. Actually, it's really powerful, but it's kind of complex. If you were wanting something simpler to self-host, Git I think is the current favorite.
Yeah.
I've run that locally, but a bunch. That's where I keep my dot files whenever my home lab explodes and I need to recover.
Home labs.
Home labs are fun.
She says, as if she didn't have a half rack in her basement.
Back at this again. I fell down the home lab rabbit hole again, and I'm trying to crawl myself back out. It's like, no, I'm not allergic to money.
It's so true, though. It's so true.
It's like, what do you mean my light bill went up because I have a 2U in my apartment? Like, of course, who doesn't need a 2U? Like,
I mean, obviously, my NAS is the 3U. That's like minimum.
I had to stop myself. I found a blade server, a blade chassis with like, and I was like, no, I don't need blades. Like
that sounds like a good way to burn money.
It does. I'm really curious. Like, does anyone else in chat run their own servers at home? Because
and yes, Raspberry Pis count as running your own server if you're using them as network servers.
I got inspired because our old developer advocate who worked here, my previous boss Eddie Zaneski, did a talk at KubeCon EU about doing home automation running on K3s on a Raspberry Pi cluster, and I was like, oh, I can do that. I've totally wanted a Raspberry Pi cluster, and then my credit card goes no. I do have I think the funniest thing is the first conference talk I ever gave was at Texas Linux Festival in 2016, and I did a talk on pfSense, which is a FreeBSD based firewall. And the founder was in my talk, like the original creator, like their company was there, and they liked my talk so much that they gave me a 1U pfSense box with like VLANs, everything. So I have this really expensive network router in my house for like the 20 thing, and it's hilarious. I look at it and I'm like, you are not doing what you were designed to do. You're barely filtering packets.
I'm gonna go with people have liked my talks. People have liked Piper's talks. People have liked PPP talks. Nobody is liked our talks well enough to hand us hardware.
Well, you weren't doing a talk on their hardware. Like if PPB was a vendor, and I was surprised. I know, trust me, I was like, oh wow, this was great. So it was pretty cool. Were you gonna say something, Brandon?
See, I avoided all those power consumption restraints for myself by diving right into the Raspberry Pis. So I have the opposite problem. My whole architecture will sip power, but it won't run very fast.
Yeah, Home Lab Lite. Actually, so that rack firewall, that was the first year they started building the pfSense boxes with the Intel Celeron chips. So you don't need because it's a firewall. It doesn't need a Xeon 16 core processor. It's a firewall, but it also has I think an M2 in it and stuff. It's really cool. It's fast. I think I broke it the other day and I haven't had the heart to go fix it because I moved about a couple months ago and I'm slowly standing it back up, and I hadn't plugged it in for 2 years. So I tried to do all the updates at once, which is a bad idea all the time. Oof. And I got it to the latest stable on the old version before it made a major change, and I'm trying to get it to go to make the major. And I don't want to flash it because I don't have because I don't want to deal with serial ports because it doesn't have VGA. It has serial ports. I don't know where my serial cables are at. So it's literally sitting we're at that point now where it's sitting in my closet and I look at it and I go, do I feel like fighting the serial monster today? No, I'm just going to keep using what I have. So my home lab used to be huge, and over the years it's dwindled. As hard drives fail, I stopped replacing them. And now I just, because I work at DigitalOcean, if I want to play with something, I can just spin up a droplet. And that's honestly the best benefit of working here. Work for a cloud company, you get to play with their stuff, and then write content on it.
See, clearly, if this current job doesn't work out, I should join you in DigitalOcean and write all the demos.
We've got plenty of space. We're constantly hiring here. So, okay. Someone says they have a home office GitLab instance running on a small business server, 10 terabytes with 48 gigs of RAM. That seems like a lot, but
that's not a small business server.
That's not a small business server. That's what we have in our data center.
That's in the category of I've heard of bigger servers, but that's a solid server.
That's a solid server for a home GitLab instance.
That's a solid server in a lot of instances. In any category, that's a solid bit of metal.
It seems like it, but when you think of now that I think about it, that's just 3 16 DIMMs and 2 WD5s, which are Western Digital 5 terabyte, which is a lot, yes, but in 2021, that's really not that much. In 2016, that would have been a monster. But I'm sitting I built my PC. It's sitting here next to me. It's what I'm working on. And it has 32 gigs of RAM and 4 terabytes. And it didn't cost that much.
To be fair, my standard is an HPE micro server, which has 4 gig of RAM, cannot support anything more than 4 gig of RAM and an Intel Celeron chip. So
I actually ran my GitLab server on my Mac Mini because I had flashed it with Linux. And I had the last Mac Mini where you could expand it. I don't know if they do it anymore, but in 2011 they stopped doing it, and I bought it, and it was like a medicine pill cap. It was childproof RAM. You had to push down and turn, and you could open it up and you could insert more RAM. That was the only thing you could modify on it. So, Phoebe, are we nerding out too much?
Oh no, I'm completely distracted with crazy Hacktoberfest immediate needs. So
if you need to drop, feel free. I know you've got a busy month ahead of you, but
yes. Well, I'll just say this. Yes, I'm probably going to drop, but I do want to let folks know that we just rolled out this website and bear with us. It's a new application this year. We built it in 2 months. And it's
mostly working.
It's mostly working, but yeah, we still are working out some kinks. So just bear with us, but we love you and we appreciate you participating, and we're super excited to see you at some other events. I would go check out the list of events on the event page of the Hacktoberfest website and just kind of scroll through. It's an Airtable, so you can order it the way that you want to. So definitely check out. There's different ways to filter it. Instead of just looking at a long list. So make sure you do that so that you get the info that you need, and come join us at our next events. Our next kickoff event is going to be for the APAC or Asia Pacific region. And that's October 4th, and we're hoping we see you there as well. So yeah, thanks for having me on. And thank you everybody for participating. And I'm going to hop, but everybody else is going to stay and hang out. So this is not goodbye.
Yes. Thank you, Phoebe. It's great having you. And we look forward to sending you to the Bahamas with tall adult beverages. So when this is all over with, because we know you're going to need it.
Super down with that. Yeah. All right. Take care, everyone.
Bye, Phoebe. Okay.
So the question for the chat should be, does anybody have questions or comments about Hacktoberfest or open source? Because, that's kind of the subject of this thing. And we could talk about ops forever.
Okay, so Xander asks this.
Mason, you're on the same brainwave as me. I was going to pull this one up.
Fantastic. I'm glad we're there.
How often do they get updated? Every 15 minutes or so, if you're loading your profile. Every time you access your profile, it attempts to update your kind of contribution status, but there's a rate limit on that of 15 minutes. So every 15 minutes or so, if you don't access your profile, roughly every 6 hours, though that job has not successfully run once yet. So I'm working on it. But yeah, access your profile every 15 minutes should be updated. What else we got in here? Let's see. Mark asks, are there any public leaderboards for Hacktoberfest? Not on our end. We're not allowed to, really.
And also, that's not the point.
Yeah, so Hacktoberfest is not a race. It's not a game. It's all about just, contributing to open source. But, why can't we have a leaderboard? We're not allowed to. We can't reveal who's participating. That's
GDPR.
So, yeah. No, there are no public leaderboards.
I definitely want to mention that just a little bit, that that it's not about the quantity of pull requests and racing to get the t-shirt. It's really about syncing into a new project. And personally, I want to sync time into projects that I like, the stuff that I use every day. That's the stuff that I want to contribute to, whether it's my time in the code base, whether it's my financial support as a sponsor. But I want these projects to stay alive because I enjoy using them. Mm-hmm. And that's my personal motivation.
Yeah.
Yep. Something we haven't discussed, and something that doesn't always get discussed much, is being an open source maintainer is a lot of work, not just project organizational work or the technical code writing work, but there's a lot of emotional stuff. This is your baby and you're trying to put it out there and you're trying to make it successful, basically with no money, basically with no time. Maintainers with full-time jobs and kids and doing full open maintaining major projects don't know how they do it. Do not know how they do it.
Nope. I have a dog and that takes up too much time.
Very true.
I'm already overwhelmed as a maintainer. Like I said in the talk, I've lost control of my GitHub notifications already. It's I'm gonna have to sit down and clean those up.
Also, yeah. I was going to update my email pins because I get an email notification for every GitHub notification and I pin it as a way to go, I need to deal with this. I've still got stuff from Hacktoberfest last year that I haven't yet processed.
Isn't it fun when the stack keeps growing and you never get to the bottom?
Yep.
And you look at it. We do have a question in the chat from Xander. When do issue creation and labeling count for maintainers? So issue creation and labels does not count for your maintainer quota for getting the for Hacktoberfest. You would have to merge PRs or approve them and stuff like that. So it's all around PR. Now, adding issues and adding labels will attract more people to your project. So it's more likely you will be able to get those things closed. But just issue creation and labeling does not count towards Hacktoberfest.
I will say, by the way, it is easier the second and third time if you keep your issues up to date, because PPP has issues that are several years old at this point. Some of them are designs and feature stuff that's we need to include this at some point, but some of it is just stuff we haven't gotten to. Actually, mildly curious, what is our oldest new contributor? Improve the tests, a classes test suite from April 2019.
Is anyone surprised that the oldest issue there is, of course, tests? Is anyone surprised by that? I'm not.
I'm not.
Pretty.
So, in fairness, the second oldest issue is docs.
Also not surprised.
I was waiting for the README or a license file. I was waiting for those.
No, we got those taken care of really fast. We want to rewrite the README because we got like the read the docs front page, the website front page, and the README, and they all kind of say the same thing. We want to make to differentiate them a little bit. And we are under the Artistic 2.0 license.
Nice.
Okay, Artistic? That's interesting. I've never heard of that.
Yes.
What is that license?
All right, so the summary from GitHub says, yes, commercial use, yes, modification, yes, distribution, yes, patent use. It says no liability, no trademark use, and no warranty. And the conditions are license and copyright notice, and you have to state any changes you've made.
Oh, so a pretty standard open source license, really.
So
does it have? So why is it called Artistic? Does it have a?
I don't remember.
I guess
it comes out of the Perl community. So I Piper picked it, and I honestly don't remember the history or the whys. Exactly.
Yeah. Well, because it sounds like a stand. Like Artistic, I was totally because I was thinking something like Creative Commons. You
you say that it sounds like the Creative Commons license, but it's not apparently.
I wonder if it is. I wonder if it's kind of the in between Creative Commons and a standard code license.
Maybe because it
a
sounds
lot of the code licenses don't cover like docs and any image assets.
Yes, that would make
yes
sense.
And no. They technically you can apply any license to any creative work, and so programming counts as a creative work. But like some licenses are better oriented for different kinds of media than others.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like whenever I do like open source tech, like I was working for a time on like open educational resources, and I was using Creative Commons licenses because things like Apache and stuff weren't going to cut it. For that particular repo, Apache is a fine license, but when it comes to that kind of stuff, because I didn't want to write a whole open educational resource book and then have somebody take it and publish it and say it was theirs.
Yeah.
Not like I would have the money to fight that in court anyway, but it's nice to pretend.
It looks like the Artistic license is OCI compliant, so it should sit nothing out of the ordinary there.
Okay.
Yep.
Sounds cool.
No
other questions in the chat coming up yet, but that's fine.
Like MIT, but stating changes. Yes, it sounds like it.
Yeah, I don't remember if it's. Yeah, I don't remember the specifics, and I don't feel like reading legal.
Yeah, no, it's not that important.
I'm really a fan of licenses that require you to state changes. I think it's just a really nice way to kind of somewhat enforce giving back to open source when you're using open source.
It's just sad that some of the licenses have had to adopt that due to necessity and not just because that's the project needed it. Like what happened with Elastic.
Yeah.
I love this question, and I have strong opinions about it.
Oh, is it opinion time?
Yes, it is. When should you open source an application? When you're developing towards the most valuable player at MVP, etc. I believe that it should be open sourced from the beginning, because the longer you are doing it, the more you will bake stuff in, and trying to pull it out is bad. Also, developing with when I was at my last job, we call it the open source mindset, which is just it's a phrase that executives say to make themselves feel better. But it really is about like using open source code, being aware of the licenses of the software that you're bringing in, making, because like a lot of people don't look at licenses of libraries. And I've worked at one place where you need to like nothing against the GPL, it serves a good purpose, but like the code base we were trying to do, I couldn't use any GPL v3 code. It was like, for how we were shipping the product, I couldn't do it. So by developing for open source first, you're going to write better code, because everyone's going to be, people will be critiquing you from day one because it's out there in the open. You're not going to have to worry about unbaking things in, because if you've ever tried to unbake a cake, it's really hard. And I've seen people who are like, we're going to open source our 15-year internal application. I'm like, no, you're not. You're never going to get that company out of that code. So if you want to open source
one commit that's being cleaned.
Yes, exactly. And also that's awful. I've been through the cleaning process of like, let's try to unbake a cake, and everyone just ends up crying and quitting.
I work on internal services at my day job, and those services, we have considered open sourcing them, but we have a bunch of assumptions of how we work baked in that limit its usability for anyone else. And getting those assumptions out is almost certainly just not worth the PR. that we would get out of the public relations we would get out of it, not pull requests.
Yeah. So I think in some ways I'm having the same fight with like the back end Hacktoberfest. It's so specifically developed to our internal architecture that actually trying to open source part of it is going to be very difficult.
That is going to be interesting.
It's come up a bunch of times at Apprite because we are totally open source first. So we have every library is open sourced as we can, and we're trying to open source even our internal documentation and resources. It really takes some extra consideration when you know that you're going to be sharing it from the public from the get-go. You make different assumptions about what you write and how you write it. It's almost like how you practice how you play. When you go into a sports practice, you try not to be lazy or slack off because those habits will repeat once you go out to play for real. So I think it should all be open source from the beginning because it's just the discipline that comes along with it when you know it's going to be public.
Yeah.
To answer specifically in the questions to comments, I would say well before MVP, because for a lot of people, for a lot of projects, MVP is a project management concept. It is scope, definition of scope, and I would say you don't have to be publicly open source from your first commit. It is perfectly reasonable to get some frameworky stuff set up before you put it out there. But if you wait towards your MVP to open source, that is much later than I think all of us would say you should.
Yeah, I think the other thing as well is like, say you never get to an MVP, you end up not finishing this project. By having it open source, you put it out there in the world. Someone else could end up picking that up and actually doing something with it. Whereas if you've never published it, the world will never see it.
And also, I am loving some of these other questions that we are ignoring.
Well, go ahead. Well, which ones?
I see
like
3 questions.
Say it out loud and I'll pull it up on the screen.
So we got Sander Star Gaming. What are some things you like to self-host? And then we've got Quartz. So if we do this real quick, I have a Synology doing my NAS, which is not really self-hosting. It's just prosumer gear. I am self-hosting the Unify stuff for my networking, and I am self-hosting what was the some of the other stuff. I'm self-hosting some of the stuff on the Synology related to media and such. So
I self-host a Plex server for media. It's a fun one.
One of the ones I wanted to highlight was Pi-hole that I run as a DNS ad blocker because I believe they're Hacktoberfest. They're partnering with Hacktoberfest, and they are looking for GitHub sponsors. I think I saw it on the list.
Ooh, good plug.
Definitely.
It's not even my stuff. I just use it happily.
Yep.
I'm trying to do the PPB demo. Oh, what do you got? You don't self-host anything?
No. I don't know. I feel like self-hosting stuff is such a risk. I'd rather just have it in the cloud where I don't have to worry about it.
For me, a lot of it is like home services. I explicitly do not want on the internet. So if I was doing home automation, I would run Home Assistant explicitly on-prem in my house. My Synology is explicitly on-prem in my house behind my firewall.
My Plex server is so big that the S3 cost to store 5 terabytes worth of data would bankrupt me quicker than it's worth. So it's cheaper just to build my own.
Makes sense.
Cool. I'm trying to do the PPB demo, but I have a question.
Okay.
Andre.
Yes, Andre, as the maintainer, thank you for reminding us.
Yeah. So I don't know. Okay, how do I does it do the thing in parentheses when you've activated the virtual environment in Windows?
I don't remember. You are in PowerShell.
Should I do it in command?
Is there whichever? I'm Linux through and through, so I don't remember.
Well, I have the WSL, but I don't know if the WSL is going to. Do you know if PPB works in the WSL?
Yes, I do believe we have had WSL users. You just need to have your GUI stuff set up.
I don't have any of that set up.
All right.
I don't.
So
that's why we're doing Windows.
Whoops.
I run the script, so I think it's
like,
installed.
What's the equivalent, like which? Does Windows have which?
What's the what's the under file that shows me how do I find what
executable?
Import sys dot executable?
Yeah. It's a attribute.
Oh.
Nope.
No, that is
in the... you need the scripts. You need the activate.ps1 script.
Because I'm in Bash. PS1. I hate PowerShell.
I mean, secure by I support secure by default, but developers got to develop.
Yeah. Let me see if I can.
Why by default would you disable running PowerShell scripts in PowerShell? That seems like too far on the secure by default.
It's probably because it disables running unsigned PowerShell scripts categorically.
Oh, you can sign PowerShell scripts?
Yes.
Huh.
Welcome to Windows.
I'm so used to my batch scripts, just, a plain text.
It's set execution policy remote signed.
I do not miss Windows.
Nor do I.
Okay.
Mason, why do you do this to yourself?
Because unless Jamie wants to try running the PPB demo.
All right. Well, it's a streaming thing that screwed me up. So
let's just try it. See what happens. Because you were able to stream the browser fine.
Yeah. The only problem is I got dual screen. So yeah, it's gonna give the whole screen. So this
interesting. Are you on Linux? Is that what's going on? Okay.
So so like Discord knows how to handle it, but here, let's
see what happens. Okay, so it's a little weird, but we can live with it.
So we got this here. So if we do hi, and I'm doing this in VS Code just because I get a terminal and code here at the same time. I use Sublime generally. I use Sublime for my personal stuff, and I use VS Code at work. And I think Piper uses PyCharm. Whoever makes IntelliJ.
PyCharm. She uses JetBrains and PyCharm.
Yep. That's the stuff. Names. Okay, so
I should have just done it in PyCharm. That would have made it work. I'm dumb.
It happens. All right, so I'm on Linux where things like this are normal for working. Or yes, I do. So virtual environments or VMs are Python's way to encapsulate a project. Node has it built in by default. I think Ruby has a thing. It depends on the environment. So, and PPB has dependencies in SDL, but because of the hard work of Austin Hurst and PySDL DLL at PySDL2 DLLs, 90% of the time you don't have to install it separately.
Yay!
So if I do import PPB and PPB.run. And hit the run button.
And I will share the docs with this code because it's no way on earth anyone's going to be able to see it.
A window in 3 lines.
Yeah. So the code that she's typing is going to be in the docs. I know that it's probably too small to see. So if you follow along from the docs, which I just sent the link, you'll be able to see it. I've seen this demo many times, so I know exactly where we're going with this.
Yeah. So if we have a ship, we can make it a sprite. Sprites are how everything that appears on the screen is a sprite. And we have to set up the scene to actually add the sprite to the scene. Oh, look, we've got a filler asset. Let's get a real asset.
How many lines of code are we at now?
10. 9.
9 lines of code.
It's brilliant. It's a beautiful thing to watch. I love
Yeah.
watching these live demos every time. They do them at all the different Python conferences. That's how I met
It's
Piper.
our favorite flex.
It is. I mean, it's a good flex. I mean, if you can do it, do it. Like,
Yeah.
All right, I got it. I am a little rusty apparently. Is it image, the attribute I have to set called image. So if I pull up the docs here, API reference, sprites. Da 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 da.
This is what I like to hammer home with people is like the docs are there for a reason.
yes. And Jamie and Piper are both on my, like, we have a synergy of how important docs are. Like, we always talk about them. So it's one of the things that Piper and I bonded over when we first met. So.
And they need to work for two kinds of audiences. They need to work for beginners who are trying to get their feet wet with a project, as well as people who are trying to code hit a roadblock and need to find an answer quickly. So it's interesting how docs have to target two audiences at once.
Mm-hmm.
Docs have to target many audiences. And actually, there's a really good talk from PyCon AU that talks about docs and the 4 kinds. I highly recommend looking it up. Was it PyCon AU 2019? I want to say.
Yeah. Is there any way you can zoom in your screen on your code a little bit just so we can? I mean, it's got to be like monstrously huge, but because the second screen is making it. Yeah, and then maybe close the file explorer, like the little file. Yeah, that's better. It's not. That'll work better.
Okay, so I got a tiny little ship on a playfield.
This is spectacular to watch.
It is.
Okay,
it's
so
really
let's
fun.
make the ship go. So if we do included in PPB are a collection of what we call features. These are non-core essential additions.
Okay, so they're not core to the game engine, but they're things that you include. They're like included libraries. Is that what you say?
Yeah, they're sort of the standard library of default sprites. That's what the feature is called.
Okay.
They're sort of the standard library of PPB.
Okay, cool.
I should have just copy and pasted the whole thing.
It's supposed to say, target.
So default sprites include a bunch of like default motion behavior. And of course, it's a game engine. There's vectors. There's some math. Sorry, not sorry.
Yeah, well, in game engines, you're going to be doing math. Like that's there's no getting away from math in game engines. Luckily, I don't consider it to be, well, it can get really complicated, but most game engines do stuff like inverse vectoring and all that crazy stuff. But
a lot of them do. PPB is one of the simpler ones. Oh, look, we have a moving sprite. And just to cap it off, let's add some interaction. On mouse motion, let me pull up. And if I pull up the reference for this event, because as much as I know my engine, it's been a little while. All right, da. Mouse motion, it has a position. Here we go. So if I set that target to event.position, and
okay, so we're at 14 lines of code with some spaces.
That's exciting.
Was it being weird?
Yeah. I bet, yeah. I need the underscore there.
There we go. Classic.
There we go.
Typo.
And now it is flying very badly towards my mouse.
But still, 14 lines of code.
14 lines of code, and you've got a sprite moving around on the screen.
Uh-huh.
Fantastic. Awesome.
I'm
Thank
just
you
having flashbacks to Pygame and how many ridiculously more lines of code that would be.
So unfortunately, I did not see any of the chat through any of that.
I will update it for you. So the talk was what no one tells you about documentation from PyCon AU.
Thank you.
this person asks, how does one claim an issue to work on it in the PPB repo? Do y'all do claiming, or is it just first come, first serve?
If you want to, we honestly are fairly low traffic. So if you just say, we'll happily assign it to you for a reasonable amount of time if you want to work on it. We may also, if you don't like have a PR in progress in a reasonable amount of time, we might take the claim away from you. But yeah.
And that is one of, I guess, actually, Matt. So, because I know a lot of people are always like worried about someone else doing the PR, but like, so say two people didn't claim it and they each submitted a PR. Even if only one gets accepted, both can be labeled as Hectoberfest accepted by the maintainer. So that way, yes, we acknowledge the fact that you attempted it. This is a good PR. Unfortunately, we went with the other one, but we can still give you Hectoberfest credit. That's a feasible thing, right?
Yes, like so you can actually like close a PR and still give it the Hectoberfest accepted label. That will work. I guess actually that's quite a good edge case that label covers that I hadn't really even thought about, but it works.
Yeah, because I do see a lot of people always asking, like, can we make, because I understand you want to make sure that you don't spend time on something and it gets through, but the maintainers do have the option of doing that, and which is what I would do, because if you're going to put forth the effort, I'm obviously going to try to reward you for it. Yeah, so that's great.
Like, PPB is a small project. The maintainers are very accessible. We are very active in Discord, where people talk to us.
Yeah.
Do y'all have an official Discord? So I know you have one, but do you have like, do you have the check mark, or send me the link to your Discord and private chat, and is it discord.gg/ppb?
No, but it's linked from the website though.
Okay, I will drop it in I'll drop the PPB one in the.
I don't know. We are a community Discord. Didn't realize we had Discord had magic blue checkboxes. Concerning we don't even have one on Twitter.
I think to apply for it, one of the criteria is you have to have a certain level of activity and engagement every so often in the channel. So even if you are an official project, you can't just say, "Hey, Discord, I want to be an official. I want the check mark," until there's enough activity to justify it.
So there's three ways.
Matt knows all about this because he's been doing it for DigitalOcean for the past year.
Oh no!
Partnership, which gives you the blue badged thing, requires continued activity, and you become like a Discord partner, and that's kind of why. Verification is a green check mark, which goes kind of, you're a verified brand. You don't need activity for that. You just need to have the owner of it be a brand account. So like for our Hacktoberfest one, I don't own the server. There's a Hacktoberfest account that has a DO email address that owns it. And then you can apply for verification. Discord goes, yes, you're a real brand. And then the third option, if you're not, like, Discord doesn't think you're a real brand, which happens, they also have an open source program. I think it's like discord.com/open-source. You don't get a check mark for that, but they do give you some features like a vanity URL.
We'll have to look into that.
Yes, and I just posted in the chat, we do have the Discord, the Hacktoberfest Discord, which is discord.gg/Hectoberfest.
We should probably put AppRight's Discord as well.
Yes, well, I think I did it earlier, but I'll do it again if I have the link to. It was appright.hectoberfest. What was it, Brandon?
So the Hacktoberfest website is hacktoberfest.appright.io. Discord is appright.io/discord. I would love to type them, but still my P key is broken.
How do you break just one key?
I'm going to assume it's cat hair that got somewhere in the switch. That's my best guess.
And now the question comes: have you got a custom mechanical keyboard? Are you rocking a membrane? What's the deal?
So I love talking about hardware. I'm not doing any custom board, but I am running the Logitech G915. It's a low-profile, fully mechanical keyboard. Quite nice.
The low profiles are getting some popularity.
I don't like them. I have a DOS keyboard, Model S black. And this thing weighs 25 pounds, and I guarantee you I could hunt elk with this thing. Just listen. Like, that's me dropping my keyboard. It's a solid metal backplate with click. That's why whenever I'm typing, and y'all are talking, I have to mute myself because you will hear me. This is the keyboard that makes you the least favorite person in the office.
Nice. Good thing we work from home.
Exactly.
All right. So since it's we're showing off, I have the Expos ergonomic mechanical keyboard.
Nice.
which
Like
is
an
very
Ovi keyboard.
shiny because ergonomics and really solid build that you can actually take apart. The primary downside is that because the keys are more spread out, it shows the gunk like nothing else. And yes, it is expensive, but I am on this computer 16 hours a day. It is worth it.
Yes. Always pay good money for the things you use the most.
Yeah.
And plenty of love for split keyboards. We just don't have them so far.
Yeah, no, and I'm rocking
never-
a custom mechanical 65% ISO layout, which is super rare. Because
in the States it's probably pretty rare. In Europe, it's probably somewhat less rare.
It's not. It took me so long to find a PCB that is 65% ISO. They just don't exist.
Well, clearly the solution should have been wire your own.
I could have done that. Maybe a bit too far down the rabbit hole for now for keyboards.
Sorry. I'm also a maker, so I will always offer the option of just do it yourself.
I just can't stand the little enter key that ANSI keyboards have. I don't know how people deal with it.
And we have dived into the keyboard conversation, which is great. I love it. However, though, I did just get word from our backstage that we are 8 minutes over, which is fine, but I think we can definitely start wrapping up and getting ready. So does anyone have any last minute things before we go back to work and pretend that actually I'm hungry? I need some food. So, but what do y'all have? Yeah, don't you have bugs to fix?
I do.
I mean, I've got a day job to do.
Here.
So, like, unlike all y'all, I did not get paid to do this. PPP is not how I make my money. I have a large Silicon Valley storage company that pays my bills.
Ooh, fun.
So
cool. So last plugs before we go. Brandon, go ahead with the app, right?
Sure. My plug is actually just to thank everybody who's stuck around to the end of the stream to watch, and thank everybody for donating their time, their resources to the open source community. We stand on the shoulders of giants, and every contribution is a gift. So I'm incredibly thankful, as well as the rest of the AppRight team, and we can't wait to see what you guys create.
Awesome. Jamie, last
Jamie,
party thoughts?
Jamie, no last thoughts. We have covered everything. So I am Jamie, the co-maintainer for Pursued by Bear, unbearably fun game development. Find us on ppb.dev and say hi in Discord.
Definitely will. And then from Matt and myself, we thank you for being here. We're super excited about Hectoberfest. Thank you, Matt, for all the work you do, just because there's so much Matt does behind the scenes. So we're all thankful for Matt. Don't come at him at Twitter. He's got enough to do on his own.
Or do. I don't mind. If things break, let me know.
Yes, because if we don't know, we can't fix them. So thank you, everyone, for attending. And we will see you. If you like this kind of banter, we do cloud chats. We'll definitely invite Brandon and Jamie on as guests in the future. But every Thursday at 11 a.m. Eastern, there's an hour and a half of this. There's games to win stickers. There's news. There's random stuff. It's our weekly show. We really enjoy doing it. Thank you, Brandon and Jamie, for joining us. Super exciting to have you. And yeah, go ahead.
Hectoberfest events, because there's a few more of these coming up. If you go to the website, on the homepage, there's a couple more kind of official Hacktoberfest ones run by DigitalOcean. And if you go to the events page, there's a whole host of upcoming Hacktoberfest events that you can get involved with if you liked kind of the Hacktoberfest vibe of today.
Yes. So that'll be it. Thank you very much, and we'll see you all next time.
Happy hacking.
Happy hacking.